So you're kicking off season 2 of Dealmakers today. So we have a series of different podcasts. We have a podcast on movies. It's my favorite one to do. I've loved doing the movies, buddy.
Now, which movies are we talking?
Let me tell you what I will say. It's a male-dominated audience right now. Okay. So our best episode, the audio is not great on. This is before I even figured out how to do all this. But our best episode was on Taken, and it was just me, my brother, and my brother's best friend going to town on Taken. We had a great time.
Having a ball.
It was incredible. So the one that we have coming up tonight, we're going to be filming one on Inside Man. Denzel, Clive Owen. Yeah. Jodie Foster. I mean, bro, it's one of the, I don't mind Spike Lee movies. They're not my go-to by any means, but like he's got 2 or 3. This is one of them that I'm like, yeah, if that's on the TV and there's nothing else, I'm zooming in on this one. So we talk about movies. We'll talk about, started another one is on basically the same concept, but on shows, TV shows that stick with you. So the first one that we did was on True Detective season 1. I mean,
I've never seen True Detective.
You're not missing out on the next seasons.
It's just season 1 that's the...
Bro, if you're on your deathbed and you haven't watched it yet, Stephanie, get the kids. I just need you guys to scoot out of this room for a couple hours. I need some time with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. I'm telling you, bro, it is the best show for that genre that I've ever seen.
Okay.
On TV. It's HBO, peak HBO. Yeah. For a season of television. It's not the best series ever. There's better series. Sopranos and all the other stuff is great. But that's telling you. Worth it.
I think you could almost do an entire thing just on HBO series. Like the HBO series. Like if you go back and think Sopranos, The Wire, one of my favorite. Well, actually, Deadwood was a surprisingly good one that
Deadwood's sneaky good.
You had to kind of like get into. It was like a slow burn to begin.
Yes.
And there's some real stuff there. The Newsroom.
Oh, yeah. Newsroom's pretty good. Dude, that guy, Jeff Daniels, sneaky good actor. Because the first time I was ever introduced to him was freaking Dumb and Dumber. But he's actually like a legit actor. He's not some goofball.
So the craziest part about The Newsroom, so it was written by Aaron Sorkin.
Oh, my God. Sorkin, dude.
So if at the beginning of COVID, you're at home, right? And with the young kids, Steph won't let me like I like to cook is like my wind down.
Okay.
But I also like to watch TV while I'm cooking.
Dude,
it elongates the process. Okay. Like a couple beers, maybe a glass of wine or something. And I watch TV while I cook. She got so upset because I'd be watching stuff like The Wire. And she's like, you can't watch this shit while the kids are in the room.
It's just my space, babe.
My space. I'm making your food. Maybe back off. So I had to find like a family friendly, and I wasn't watching Peppa Pig while I was cooking.
No, dude, you can't do that. Come on.
So The West Wing started on Netflix right then.
Interesting.
Right at the beginning of it. Who wrote The West Wing? Sorkin.
Yeah.
A lot of the plot lines for The Newsroom are very similar to the plot lines of West Wing. When you like, if you get like real nerdy on it, some of the episodes have the same titles.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty interesting. Dude, I mean, Sorkin's got some bangers out there. His are very detailed, like overly so.
Yeah.
But there's between his stuff, we haven't really gotten into any of the Taylor Sheridan series just because like there's so much that's going on at one time. I feel like,
I don't know how he like has enough time.
But he's got to be using AI. I mean,
you'd have to think.
I have never in my life seen, and I think I kind of do blame him as much as those shows are very enjoyable. I blame him for this now TV culture. And you'll notice this when you go and watch True Detective season 1. Okay. The reason that show resonates is because there is a pretty not going to say simple plot line, but it's easy to follow. And it's 2 mains, couple ancillary characters, but you're really following just like the 2 guys the whole time.
Sure.
You're not really messing around with a bunch of other ancillary shit. With the Sheridan stuff, there is like 10 storylines going on at the same time. And like, it's like if TikTok were a TV show and where it's like You just swiping up and swiping up and swiping up. Because there's a constant action, which is like, dude, I get it, but at the same time, you don't give the show a chance to breathe. You don't get a chance to like relate to any of the characters.
And it's not like they're like coming in and out of, like, it's not like it's panning to this other person's story, right? The person comes back in and like he does a pretty good job of weaving them in. But to your point, there's not really any downtime in the show. Like it's just constant, like, boom, you're going from Dutton to, over to Beth, and then you're down, then your Rip's out doing something like, there's a lot of, it was funny when Yellowstone first came out, I hadn't seen it. And my sister-in-law was like, oh, it's so terrible. It's this, and this. It's like the punchlines are or not punchlines, but like the lines are predictable. And I started watching. I was like, this is
pretty fucking good.
Tremendous. Like, just because it was like, I liked it. I liked the character. I liked the cast.
Yes.
And I think if you look at the much larger context of like,
you get behind it.
If you think like, okay, what's happening to some more of these rural areas, or what's happening to like people who don't want to evolve with modern society, and like, I don't want, I use some like, Terry's a great example. I'm sitting there having a conversation with him about how I'm going to be modifying our systems and what we're doing about how we're going to overlay artificial intelligence. And he's just staring at me like,
and I don't know what that means. Why do we do this?
Like, what are we doing here? And you see the generation of students that are coming through middle, high, college. Like, even it's interesting, like you talk to like law school professors about it and their use of AI. Like 2 years ago or a year ago, you weren't allowed to use any artificial intelligence in any of your paper writing and anything. Now they're upset if you don't, and how quickly that's shifted.
That is odd. Well, especially, I mean, I feel like there are some schools, like law school in particular, where it probably comes in more handy than anything else, because there's no way that you can expect, and I guess, there's always going to be that older generation that's like did it the harder way, going to the library and all that stuff, and like coming through physically and like, oh my God, you guys have it so easy. Like, yes, we do. But there's no way that you're going to be able to like sift through and pull up cases for like every possible instance. So it's like, all right, well, if I have the database of the world in front of me, why not ask that database, if I can get the correct prompt together, let me ask that database to find an example of where this case works and supports my argument.
Well, and the other part about it too, like, I mean, I'll never forget when I was in law school, they made us literally go to the law library and go through the card system and like look up cases and physically through that. And you're like, man, that was rough.
Man, this sucks.
But like, even then they were bitching about like how, oh, you guys have it easier with Westlaw or LexisNexis. Well, now it was really interesting. I was talking to one of our litigators and he was talking about how they had, like, he ran something through, it's called Co-Counsel. It's a AI-based product through Lexis or Westlaw. I forget which one, and you can run it over, and he like ran his argument through and asked if he was missing anything. And it came up with like 2 other affirmative defenses that he hadn't considered that wildly changed the effectiveness of his argument.
Pretty damn good.
So it's not like doing the whole thing, but you're supplementing and looking for holes in what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Poke holes in me.
I think that deep research component to it is very interesting. And I think it's the automation of more simplistic tasks. Like, all right, if you think about what we're doing when we're handling a closing, again, call it 50 touch points through a file. You've got a lot of it is data entry where you're trying to coordinate through different people. Like, there's been AI in the background of a lot of this over time, but now that speed to information, and in our role, it's an information gathering role. Like, I've got to rely on the agents. I need to rely on the consumers, and they all have different levels of sophistication. Now, think about it this way. There's very few industries where you have to build a product that will resonate with an 18-year-old all the way to a 95-year-old.
It's a wide range, bro.
It's a real wide range. And so you're trying to create a one-size-fits-all product for a gap against massive generations of varied sophistication technologically. And some people are like, I don't want to do any of this. And you're like, this is you go to the doctor's office now and like They're like, we're going to send you a text and you can fill in all the information that you would give us sitting in our waiting room, 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
And, the doctor's like using like an AI script to listen to the whole thing. I'll come out of my doctor's office and I get like a AI summary of our visit like 15 minutes later.
Look at you. Damn, dude.
But it's kind of neat. You're like, I'm not sitting there trying to write, notes on my phone to tell my wife how, screwed up I am. Like, I'm like, here's the summary.
I don't have to. Just here you go. That is, you know what? It is huge for that. That would be freaking perfect. Cause I don't know about you. Like yes, I love my wife, but I always get those texts like, how did it go? And I'd be like, I'm irritated when I get those. It's like, I just went through it. I don't want to have to like relive the whole thing again. I would love it if somebody could just auto reply to that. This is exactly that.
Just give you the highlight. Just let me give you my blood pressure. Here's this, here's that. Like, I have to go on this medicine for a little while. Then you do this. And then, okay, here we go. Let's keep
exactly.
But
I feel like it too with the AI stuff. It's especially in your business, in the title world, with the advent of technology and how it's been evolving. I mean, dude, look at how fast AI has progressed in the last year, 2 years. There's more ways for things to go wrong because of how much more technology is involved. So with every step or two that we take forward to make it a better user experience on the back end, not you guys in particular, but like out in the world, there are just as many people looking for ways to use that technology against the consumer, to use it against the title folks.
For the longest time, we've talked about wire fraud, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's only elevated the concerns and the issues around that. And because, it's not like, hey, you're getting the Nigerian prince email.
No.
Like, that's not the email. The stuff that you're getting is really sophisticated.
It looks just like you would get from a title company.
10 days ago, we got someone impersonating a seller, and they had fabricated a fake ID for their identity verification.
Wow. Damn.
And so, like, this stuff is like, I think you see a lot of these things in, like, if you're reading Housing Wire, if you're in, like, you hear this stuff people talk about it, you hear about it in continuing education classes. You're like, oh, well, is that ever going to happen? Like, I remember when our first seller impersonation happened in Anne Arundel County 4 years ago, and everyone was like, is that real? I'm like, no, it's happening all of the time right now.
Tell me about that story.
That one.
You don't have to use names, but
no. I'll protect the less than innocent in this moment. But essentially, someone took a listing.
Yep.
They did no due diligence. Just threw the listing in, down in South County somewhere. Let's say they list the lot for $250,000. Buyer comes in, says, "Oh, I'd love to buy that. I don't think it's worth $250. I'll give you $125. Sold." How many times are in negotiation you're like, hey, I'm going to take a 50% haircut on?
Never.
Like, yeah.
First red flag.
First red flag. Okay. Like, boom. And then it wound up, that one actually, the deal went through.
Shut up.
And when the money went to be wired, the bank bounced the money back because the account name that they had provided didn't match for what it did. So we were able to claw back the money on it. In that instant, it got really interesting because then we started like doing some additional due diligence. There was a fake closing notary that had been done out of state. And this is one of the other things now that you're running into a lot because no one actually wants to come to closing. It's apparently like, no, we can't be bothered.
I got to see people? No.
I don't want to see.
Oh, yeah.
But, you get to it and like, everyone's like, oh, my seller's out of state. So that there's a couple little things that can occur along the way. And ultimately, we wound up tracking down. This was like at the very early stage of the seller impersonation. There's been a lot more procedures in the industry that have been put in place since then, but we wound up actually finding the owner of the lot and we connected him with the guy who wanted to buy the lot.
Yeah.
And then we actually did the deal with the real guy later.
Oh my God. Thank God.
It was the best part of actually coming.
Sir, would you actually take 125?
I think we ended it at 175. It was just a very interesting, like how it all came together.
Dude, that's crazy. I feel like stories like that are going to populate more. I mean, even scrolling through social media, you see, this is not real estate related, just like random videos. You're like, oh my God. And you think like somebody did something crazy or whatever. Or there's a tiger that's driving a car and it looks real. Nah, wait a minute. How stupid am I? Like, They can't possibly be real.
One thing they're talking about now is like how we as humans are starting to distrust what we used to think was real.
Yeah.
And so rather than like you're changing the opinion of rather than like, oh, look how cool that is. Like, that's awesome that Shane went and, had his dog driving his car. Like to like, I don't think a dog can drive it.
They don't have thumbs.
Yeah,
How the fuck?
like it starts repositioning the concept, like where you're distrustful until proven.
Yeah.
Like, so like take the vacant land deals from an underwriting perspective. Now we actually have to take it as it's fraud until you prove to me it's not.
Yeah. And I can see why that would have to be the case now. It's, seems in some ways un-American, but at the same time, like, how the fuck else are you supposed to protect these people?
Well, no, I mean, you're issuing an insurance product at the end of the day that they're vested with the title of the property. Now, I think more than ever, you talk about like the importance of that product, and especially vacant land, but even the rest of it. You think people can't use AI to generate lien releases on their property?
Sure.
Do you think that the county clerk's office can tell the difference between an AI generated release and otherwise?
You and I both know that they cannot.
But, so you get down to some stuff like that, and it's like, well, there's people who are going to be filing fraudulent releases and then saying that there's no payoffs on the property. Then, okay, so then you pull the title and it's been released, and then you don't pay off anything. The new homeowner goes in 2 months later and there's a foreclosure notice on the front door. That happened in DC about 10 years ago.
Really?
Now, in that case, they hadn't filed a fraudulent release, but the land records office had misindexed the name. The guy's name was Donald.
Yeah.
And when the clerk typed it into their indexing system, instead of DONALD, she typed it in as DONLAD. So the abstractor didn't pick it up. It was actually it was an estate sale. So the son didn't report a mortgage, didn't correct anyone. He knew that what was going on, took all the money from the proceeds, and literally he made 3 mortgage payments after settlement, broke out of town. He actually went to Reno. That's where they found him. But that was a claim because the homeowner got a foreclosure notice on the front door of their house and that they're getting foreclosed on. And it was because of that missed indexing error. And, people all the time are like, well, if you guys do your job right, there's so many extraneous factors. It's not me doing my job right necessarily. I mean, that's a component of it, but it's the clerk's office. It's someone. And now a lot of these places, as we're doing electronic recording now, the clerks aren't inputting the information. So I'm having to rely on, Sally or John over at XYZ Title and whether they indexed it correctly when it came in. That's a lot of trust in people that I don't trust.
Exactly. Like any other, vendor relationship out there. You never know. Like, I don't know. You just don't know who you can trust on stuff. And like, there's too many, like any other set, like there's good shops, there's bad shops, there's great shops, like anything else, but it's usually comes down to what level of detail and can they provide, and are they educated on the product and what they're doing? If can they foresee issues, handle them up front so that the experience is a lot smoother than it otherwise could be. There's some shit that you just can't plan for. But
we were talking about, actually, I had a meeting this morning. I was talking about in the meeting. I said, I'm distilling what we do as the title company down to 2 things, and everything else will fall in these 2 buckets. I'm responsible for risk mitigation and making sure that everyone's money gets to the place that it should be as quickly as possible. It's those 2 things, because under the risk
that's what they care about.
Well, that like at the end of the day, that's really what you're doing, right? Because you're talking about, okay, under the risk mitigation, you're talking about doing the title examination, making sure the abstracting is coming in, making sure that identity verification is going, all of those things that frisk around the transaction. And then there's the escrow side of it with the money.
Yep.
And how many times can you get, I probably move 20 million a day through the escrow accounts.
It's a lot of money, man.
It's a lot of risk. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they're moving, and it's not like, hey, there's one transaction that 20 million is going through.
No.
That, if you think pre-COVID, no real estate agent got their commission wired.
That was all checks.
It's all checks. The amount, very rarely, well, not very rarely, but more recently, consumers are getting their, COVID definitely, but even a little bit before that, when I first got in the business, a seller didn't get a wire. They took a check for their cash.
Yeah, it was a check and it was a cashier
You take this over to the bank. It's a big check. You should be careful with that.
Yep.
So if you think about just that, like how it changes the business, even from that perspective, the amount of wiring that we're doing, I've got 3 people full time that just do wires. Think about that.
It's a lot, man.
That overhead.
It's a lot of overhead, but also a necessity because
it's a necessary evil to deal with that key competency of getting the money to the right place as quickly as possible.
Because have you ever fielded a call from somebody that didn't get the money that they were supposed to get, or it didn't go to the right place? And how threatening. What's the worst call that you've gotten in the last few years from a consumer? Doesn't have to be from an agent, but I'm sure agents bitch all the time.
Well, they're conduit. The agents are the conduits to their clients. And sometimes it's about expectation management. And is that correct? Is everyone in alignment? I'll give you two examples of it. So this is back July 3rd of 20, it was either 16 or 17. I remember it because it was one of the only days that we've actually closed down the business on a non-bank holiday.
Okay.
But it was like we were trying to do good by the employees by giving them a day off for July 4th because July 4th was on a Saturday. It was one of those deals.
Yep.
And so I'm down at the ocean, hon, and driving down Ocean Highway, and I get a phone call from a seller who tells me that he hasn't gotten his money and he thinks there's been, an issue. It was actually a fraudster that had called my cell that was purporting he had hacked the email of the seller, and it was a power of attorney situation. The guy was out of the country already.
Oh.
And so I was talking with the fraudster.
Yeah.
And that was like when you start talking about inserting fraudulent wiring instructions. And now I think at the moment I'm actually talking to the real seller. Wife's sitting in the passenger seat. I'm like, this agent's going to be so upset. This is like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm stressing now.
No one's at the office. I didn't have my laptop on me. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to send this thing till Monday. And this guy's like yelling at me. And it was, again, the fraudster. And we started unpacking it a little bit more because the money, we had sent it and got rejected and sent back. And again, another situation. There's certain banks that will, if the account number and the name on the account don't match, they won't apply it to the account.
Interesting.
So like Bank of America, if the bank account number and the bank name don't match what you put when you send the wire, they reject it.
They say, nope. Interesting. Okay.
Wells Fargo, they don't care.
They will accept anything, I can assure you.
We had one, it was a fraud situation a few years ago where the money got sent to Wells Fargo. That one, we had a substituted payoff statement. Now that got real fun. And in that case, Wells Fargo applied it to the account. We finally, once we realized what was going on, we tried to claw the money back. They agreed that it was fraud, but their account was negative 18 grand that had been overdrawn.
Oh my God.
So they sent us the money back less the 18 grand so they shorted me 18 on the way back.
How about now? I mean, where's the rest of it? God bless.
Never got that money back.
Oh my God. And you guys just had to eat it? Oh my God. That's crazy.
That's why, title game, the margins are not as good as everyone thinks. And the risk is incredibly high.
Yeah.
When I talk to other title company owners, especially if I'm trying to either have them join us or sell to us or, whatever our proposition is for that particular individual, I always say, I haven't slept in 15 years. Ever since I took over the escrow accounts, I have not slept well.
Yeah.
Because I'm always concerned about that. And part of my value proposition to them is, would you like to sleep again?
It does sound nice, doesn't it?
I mean, the gray hair is coming in quite rapid.
I don't know if you have a little Just for Men going right now, but it looks fantastic.
You should see it with with the gel out of it, it's a little rough. But like that, there's an inherent like stress factor that goes with that. But, you know, it's very interesting because in all these situations, everyone's got a little bit something. You know, we had one 2 weeks ago, 3 brothers were selling. All 3 had bank accounts at the same bank.
Yep.
Dad was running the show for them. 3 wires sent out back to back to back. One deal, split proceeds. 3 brothers. Brothers 1's wire hits. Brother 2 wires hit. 3rd wire doesn't hit. We've called, we verified. This guy's yelling at us 10 ways till Sunday. He's hot to trot. And, you know, he's implicating that he wants to sue me and that what have I done with his money? And I'm like, I've done this exactly pursuant to the instructions you've given us. I've verified it's left our bank. I verified it's been sent to your bank with your instructions. They have it somewhere. No, you're wrong. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
The agents get involved. Everyone's yelling, what are you going to do to make this right? I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Sure.
This is not, you know, I got probably like $150 in cash on me. I can't come to 300 right now.
I can't make this up.
The colorful words were used.
I imagine.
This, we're that. And we're like, you need to talk to your bank. He was like, this is your fault. You have to deal with it. They won't talk to me.
No.
Like if I call up, I'm like, I'd like to talk about Shane's bank account over here. Can you guys verify? Like, you're not Shane.
No, if you're not Shane, then I don't want to talk to you.
They probably wouldn't even talk to you. So, you know, that one took 24 hours and they had it in their OFAC account and they wouldn't tell us and confirm it. And eventually it came out that the money was there. The money wasn't directed the right way, but they had it stuck in their OFAC account and hadn't released it.
Well, did you get an apology at least?
No.
No, well, that would be too much. That would be, I will say, like,
the agents were very appreciative in that case.
Of course.
But it was just like one of those moments where the stress, talk about like those stress and the inopportune moments of you have to go into like we've got a fraud response team. We've got escalation paths. We've got all these things built in, which you have to have in order to keep everything cranking. But the tough part is the rest of your business still needs to operate while you're in these moments of intensity. And it's tough to, like, if I'm over here trying to deal with this or someone on my team's over here trying to deal with this, but the meat and potatoes still needs to be done on the rest of the closings that are coming up. You can't take your eye off that price either, which is what I don't know how small title companies do it because you can't juggle both of those things.
No, the squeaky wheel is going to get the grease.
And then all of a sudden your closings next week are off track because this occurs. You know, I've been that small company before and when you're busier than a one-arm paper hanger, it's a bit of a situation, right? Because you can't be at the table and you can't be wiring and you can't be here because someone shows up late. So you're trying to get this wire out and this proceeds here while you got someone waiting in the conference room to close and they're mad because you're not there. You start rushing, you key in something wrong. Like those are all things that are pressures of a very small title company that while I believe a lot of them do good work, there's just pressures that the modern transaction needs, modern systems needs scale to appropriately safeguard the monies. And again, go back to what I said, it's risk mitigation and it's, can we get the money to all the right places as quickly as possible? That's the whole shooting match as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I remember those days of the small title company when we met 10, 12 years ago, something like that. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. I did not have gray hair then, but.
No, but like, what'd you guys have at that point? Like 10, 15 people at
Yeah, back then it was probably, we moved to the current location in 2016 and there was 15 of us when we moved.
Okay. Yeah.
Now between the law firm and the title company, I think there's 85, 87, something like that.
It's a lot of people, man. And your office space is like quintupled. I feel terrible because I get invited to all your parties, but there's so many people that show up. I like small group settings. Small group settings are fantastic. You get me into like those massive crowds. I'm not a Terry. Terry can work a room. My guy can do it.
He's better at it than anyone. It's interesting. I enjoyed the company when it was that size for different reasons than I enjoy it for now. It's, now we've got the Baltimore location, Severna Park, Annapolis, Prince Frederick, signing locations over on the shore. And to me, it's part of a more globalized strategy of, you go back to like the concept of people don't want to actually attend closing or they don't want to do this. Well, the best way that in a lot of ways that we can mitigate the risk is getting them to a location where
Get
I
them
can
to show
verify certain things. And I would say I can curate the experience better for them, whether they can value that up front or not. Once they come in and they're like, okay,
always depends on the person.
I used to remember when I go into certain brokerages and like they've got like these small little table that you're signing and it's got like an accordion wall and you can hear the people in the room next to you. And I'm like, this isn't an experience. This is a confidential set of information. Like, you also have people used to like actually like dress up to come to closing. And,
that is true.
You'd have people in like a coat and tie and like coming in,
dude.
And then now it's like you get some yoga pants and, a cut off tee and you're ready to roll.
Yeah, I'm here to shine.
Yep. Well, let's do this thing.
I remember dressing up to go to closings and now I feel like I only attend like 25% of them. And it's because I don't know if there's an option. Like before, there was no option. You go to closing and you are going to, that's how you get paid. So,
because that's where you're getting your check, right?
Exactly.
So all of a sudden you take that component out of it. And I think there's less incentive to do it. Now, what I will say, and I see certain lenders do this that are pretty good, where they'll come to closing and, it used to be from the era of like, they were bringing the money.
Oh, bingo. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was their role. Now, I always find it nice because, there's times where people don't exactly, and I'll say understand their complete loan terms, but like, it's nice to have them there.
Plenty of time.
It's nice to do that. Now, I'll tell you what, there are some really bang up lenders out there. And I'm a local lender guy. I think it moves the needle when there's an issue. And there's almost no transaction that doesn't have something going on.
There's always something, dude.
Like if I haven't gotten over a hump yet, if like there hasn't been a hurdle we've got to get over, I'm like concerned. So I'm like, what is going on that this hasn't popped up and bitten us on something?
Yeah.
And look, when I went to law school, I would say it this way. I'm classically trained in worst case scenario. It's got to be a real bitch to be married to me because I walk out and I'm like, I think it's going to rain today. And Steph's like, it's 95. There's no humidity in there whatsoever. I'm like,
I don't know. I got a feeling my knees hurt.
That ACL injury from 30 years ago is really cranking up on me today.
That's right.
That is actually the worst part about getting older is you're like, I'll literally wake up and she's like, how do you know that? You can't hear it on the roof or something.
My eyes are closed.
I'm like,
the curtains are shut. I just have a feel. I know it.
Like my left knee is screaming right now. And I know there's going to be some ibuprofen in my future.
You better believe it. That's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Dinner. It's one of those deals, but you almost have to be a pessimist and not in a way of like, it's tough because I don't want to have to look at the world that way. But what I'm trying to do is I think there's too many people that have an overly positive, everything's just going to work out mentality.
For sure. Yeah.
And the problem is that in my mind, they're not mentally prepared for the problem solving of when
it doesn't,
when it hits the fan. And you're like, and then they're like, oh, what do we do? I'm like, oh, I've already been thinking about this 10 ways till Sunday.
Yes.
On how we're going to solve this problem and get ahead of it and then be ready to roll. And I think that's the biggest difference maker for me is like, as long as I'm ready for it and I come in, I'm not overreacting to the situation or you're not getting my first reaction because it's already been banging around in my head here a little bit on like, all right, if this happens, what do we do? If this, we're always working 2 or 3 solutions for every problem because you don't know exactly what's going to happen on if the money doesn't come in, if this doesn't happen, or there's an issue. I would say if I've got a closing, let's say there's a closing at 10 o'clock and at 9:40, I get a call to my cell phone.
It's not good.
There's a walkthrough issue. Yeah, I know there's a walkthrough issue.
Withhold that funny. Do not let it go at all. They took the curtains. That's so true. I remember when I first got into real estate, I'm in year 13 or whatever now.
Because we got connected
pretty early by our boy Matt Nader. And I'm going to mention him in a second.
Local lender.
So I remember particularly my first year, maybe 2, super green, like excited to just do something different and to try and capture some of that entrepreneurial spirit. Like, man, I don't really know what I'm going to be good at, but I got to be good at something. I'm pretty good with people and just talking with them, getting to know them, figuring out what they want. I don't know everything yet in real estate, obviously, but I feel like if I can connect with people and I can study the market and stuff, and I like houses. I've always liked going to the houses. It's awesome. It's fun, dude. Who doesn't like being a voyeur?
Right.
So I'm like, this is going to be great. So I remember the first few closings when I finally worked out, I was like on top of the world. I was elated. I'm happy for me, happy for the client. Over time, that feeling of elation went from, let's say it was a 10 out of 10 down to like an 8 out of 10 down to like what now is dead. It's I'm no longer happy when something goes through. I'm relieved when it does. And I think that's because...
Well, it's because you have the experience that
exactly. I know it can go wrong so many different times.
And I think I always find it funny. And again, I don't go to the table as much anymore. I have kind of a few sets of clients that kind of were my OG clients that I've just kind of held on to because I valued what we did together to get everything going. And like, I think there's another value of still going to the table for me running the company because I can see how our processes and our systems are working.
Yeah.
So like I have got real firsthand experience. I'm like, hey, you guys thought that welcome email was fantastic, but this isn't exactly landing the way you thought it would because you're seeing the real time thing. So there's still a part of me that's good from production that helps me lead the company better. But yeah, like when you've seen it and, I've long ago joked that I'm going to write a book one day called Tales from the Table.
Oh, that's great.
It's just going to be like
patent pending. Nobody touch that.
Pending, don't touch that one. But it's if you think you couldn't make it up, I've seen it. I mean, I'm probably 26, probably over 30,000 transactions now. I've seen some stuff. I've heard some things. I've seen some things. But like in that time, to your point, or yes, they took the curtains, or someone took a chandelier one time. So like they didn't put it as an exclusion, or they didn't know, there was this one, the hardwood was scratched when they were moving the piano.
Yes.
And it was like a bamboo inset with a compass rose. No one could actually value what it would take to repair that.
So you pull a number out of your ass, from some side, and say,
everyone's like,
$100.
Yeah, you're like, well, if you want to do this on the sheet, like, we got to make sure the lender's okay with it, and it's on the seller side. What does it matter? I'm like, anytime you're doing an escrow and there's a lender involved, what are you talking about? There's something wrong with their collateral.
Yes,
like they care about. We went and there is damage to the roof. The lender will care about that.
You better believe it. Because they got to be, first of all, most of those lenders got to sell that loan.
Oh, yeah. That loan's already been sold before you even get to the table on it. And I think ultimately with what we see with a lot of this is like people don't understand the why behind it, which is you're constantly educating people all of the time. But I think too many people don't do the proactive work to, look, if you're going to have, and a lot of the agents that got into the business during the COVID era have never seen the current market that we're working in right now. And so it's like, all right.
I've been in much longer than that, and it's still hard to get a hold on. Like, I think I got a pretty good handle on it and what's going to happen, but there's still some things that I see that I'm like, Jesus.
I remember, I think some of the first deals we did together, I actually talk about you quite a bit when I talk about agents who've worked their way through different markets.
Yeah.
You are actually the example I use. Because I remember one of the first deals we ever did together, we actually did like 5 of these in a row. And it was just the market in that era was the short sales.
Yeah.
We had like 4 or 5 files in a row that were just all short sales. And
I promise I'm not going for these. Like
but that was what was available in that time, right? That was the inventory that was available. And I remember the way I tell it, at least the way I remember it, was there'd be times where we'd be in that deal for 9, 10, 11 months and you're getting a check for $4,500 at the end of it. And everyone was happy. Hell yeah. Look at this.
Finally.
And like, if you look at it now, if I said to you, Shane, are you willing to work for 10 months for $4,500? You'd be like, well, I don't know that that's the best use of my time right now. But, I mean, there's a time value of money. Now, when we're first getting going,
I'll try to take anything.
Like, I'll do whatever. I think that's where you start, like, as the businesses grow up, as you start seeing these different angles to the business and seeing where it's coming. Now, the short sales really haven't been a thing for a long time, but with the appreciating value, that the short sales haven't been prominent whatsoever. I mean, hell, you haven't even barely seen foreclosures. That inventory has been just.
That was one of the things they were predicting a couple of years ago. It was like, oh, we're going to see all these like COVID foreclosures and stuff now because the rates have gone up and people are losing jobs and stuff. But no, I haven't seen them. And one of the things that bugs me to no end is the doom casting that a lot of people will do. Well, I'm waiting for the bottom to fall out because it's like, okay, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is what's going on right now. You can use the past to help predict the future, but none of us fucking know what's going to happen. The doom casting stuff kills me. I can't stand it. It's a bugger.
Well, the thing about the doom casting, to your point, is everyone's just guessing.
Yes.
And like, even now when I was like, well, if the interest rates just go down, there's this, or this. Like, I'm not the chair of the Federal Reserve.
No.
I can't dictate that, right? All I can do is dictate what's in the market. How do we service that market? How do we service what's going on that's out there? People still need to buy and sell. Like, to your point, when people start predicting the COVID foreclosures, well, if you bought a house, let's just say you bought a house early in COVID or right before COVID, your house is appreciated 45 to 50% in value.
Exactly.
You're not going to let it get foreclosed on. If you've got that price appreciation, you might sell it.
You could sell it, refinance if you wanted to. You've got plenty of equity in there.
There's plenty of equity to play with. I always remember my first house. I had this townhouse, and it had an FHA loan on it. So I got a gift from my grandparents.
Yep.
Gift equity to get in, do this. I got no money. I'm in law school at the time. We're in the house for like 2 months, and the derecho came through. And I went downstairs to check the sump pump because I was like, oh, I'm going to be like a really good homeowner and I'm going to stay on top of this.
Yep.
And I walked down the steps and took the last step off the stair into the basement, and the carpet was soaked. To find out, the house had a foundation crack behind the wall.
That's nice. Good.
So the prior owner, it was a rental, and then it was a rental. They had just put new carpet and everything. So like, as a first-time home buyer, I'm coming in, I'm like, oh my God.
Hell yeah, boy.
Brand new carpet. We don't have to deal with this. Fresh paint. We don't have to deal with that. Okay. Now, I stepped down and that carpet's soaking wet. I'm like, ooh, crap.
Someone's going to die.
I wound up having to rip out the wall, and it actually had wood paneling down there that they had painted.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't exactly replace that in an easy way.
Where was the house in Arnold?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It was had a 9-foot foundation crack in it.
God damn.
And the craziest part about it was I'm 99% sure that the seller knew about it because the tack strip when we pulled the carpet up had been fully deteriorated. So there was no way that like this wasn't an issue before, and I'm
sure they said, well, it's dry now, so let's just put the carpet down. Come on.
I wound up getting this guy who was he works on bridges up and down the East Coast.
Yeah.
And when they have like foundation cracks in them and they go in and inject these things.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was like, is this like going to be a problem? He goes, this is now the strongest part of your home.
You now have Kevlar reinforced foundation, sir. You're going to be fine.
The crazy thing about that, you think about that. All right, you got an FHA loan, so you got barely any cash in the game, right?
Yeah.
And now I've got a major structural issue with the house. I've got no money.
No money. I'm panicking.
So we literally ripped all the carpet out.
Yep.
Put all the stuff in the middle of the room. I took it down to the studs, but I didn't have any money to repair it. So for like 18 months, it just sat stud. My wife wouldn't even go into the basement.
I can't do it.
She's like,
story my dude.
I won't go down there. She wouldn't go down there. She wouldn't look at it. It was too big of an issue.
Yep.
And right when my son was about to be born, we needed, that townhouse only had 2 bedrooms upstairs, and we needed to turn the guest room into the nursery, and we were going to turn the basement to the guest bedroom. So I had to fix it at that point. So that turned into like the buddies came over and did some drywall work.
In the old days where you could have your friends come over with, do you guys want some beer and some pizza? Just a quick drywall activity?
Yeah.
No chance.
Guys would come over and help me do some drywall work. They'd be like, I can give you the name of a contractor that would come do some drywall work for you.
I can't think of anything I want to do less, actually. That's where you need to call the father-in-law, because father-in-law has just enough energy to be like, first off, I know how to do this because I'm old, and all old people know how to do anything handy, especially dudes. And they also have nothing but time. And they're like, and I get a chance to go and like hang out with my grandkids for a little bit and maybe teach them the ropes and stuff that I never had the time to teach my kids. Let's do it. That's what they're perfect for.
The best part about that one, you know how like when you get in your car and if you like consistently go to a place, it'll be like 10 maps to One Joyce Lane. That was where my kids went to daycare. Like my dad was the one who came over to like help me get through the rest of that project. And so every Saturday morning at like 9 a.m., it would just say 8 minutes to this street.
That's right.
The craziest part, I actually just saw that house go on the market this week. And it was funny. I was looking at the pictures and we had done a lot of stuff, like just slowly improving it over time and like putting like wainscoting in and all this stuff. And like, those are like projects I did with my dad. And like, we just kind of did.
Still there?
Oh, they're still there. Like, but to your point, the funny part was like remembering when we were doing it and my son was so young at the time. There's pictures. I've got pictures of my dad, myself, and my son working on the wainscoting, and
it's pretty cool.
Dean he's only wearing a diaper because we were painting and he wanted to be part of the painting project after we had done all this. And so it's like the picture of the three of us working on that house, which I was like, when I saw the picture of it and I was like, man, it's still there. It looked pretty good, man. Our craftsmanship that's pretty good looking there. You know,
if we wanted to, we could have a contracting company. I mean, listen, small projects first.
Small projects.
But that's like what you described though. And maybe it's this, I don't know. Part of me feels like maybe it's just the season of life that we're in now where it's like, we don't really have the time to do that stuff because the kids are a little bit older. And when you're younger, you have that, but you have a little bit more time. You have a little bit more freedom to pull that off. But now I don't even think that kind of thing exists as much as it does, because we have almost, I mean, I'm going to speak for me, and you obviously see a lot more of first-time buyers than I do, just by nature of your job. But our average buyer is buying, our average first-time buyer, I should say, has a much higher price point than what you and I had as first-time home buyers.
We were talking about it yesterday, because I remember back in the day.
It's astounding.
I remember back in the day, you'd get like a $500,000 deal.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, we hit the jackpot.
Yeah.
Look at this mega deal. And, sometimes I'll see like someone like, you get like a $500,000 deal, like over in Arnold or Chevron Park. And I'm like, what are they buying?
What are they buying? What shoebox is this?
What shoebox are they acquiring? Like, but it's wild to see those prices over the time and how much they've appreciated. Real estate is a wealth building tool. I still firmly believe it's
100%
one of the best ones. There's been, from call it like 2012 to present day, really wild period of price appreciation that if you were in the game for that time period, you've benefited from.
Yeah.
You see some of that, and I'm like, because especially people like being at COVID are like, I don't want to get into this bidding war. I'll wait for the prices to come back down.
Dude, you know how many times we heard that? Jesus.
Those were like real conversations, but now you look at them and you go, I had a friend who bought one, and I was pleading with him to buy during COVID, pleading with him. And he didn't buy. He wanted the prices to come down. He wound up buying a house that was probably $300,000 more expensive than he would have paid at the beginning of COVID, at an interest rate 4 points higher than he paid at the beginning.
Yeah. And sometimes it's timing. Like, maybe it's not the right time in their life to make that move. And like that is definitely a big part of it. But sometimes, like, if you have the ability to do it, I have a lot of friends and clients that do that game of like, I don't know. My dad's one of these. I love my dad, but like, he's like, well, I don't know. And we were looking at he wants to move to Eastport. He wants to move to Murray Hill, somewhere where it's like
walkability.
Walkability. It's awesome. But he also wants parking. He's got a healthy budget, which is great. But he's like, I want parking. He's got a dog now, which growing up, having a dog at our house would have been not allowed. I can tell you that.
Oh, talk to old Jim Pop. Oh, he's growing up, we were not allowed to have dogs. Okay. Now I grew up in a boating family, and we go out, and I call it glorified camping because that's really what it was.
Yeah.
We didn't have a camper. We just had a boat that we'd take out and anchor out every weekend. And
better than a camper, I can tell you that.
It's probably better than a camper. Well, in some ways, growing up, we didn't have a boat with a generator. We didn't have, our first one. I'll never forget. We'd go out to Dobbins Island. We'd like barely leave the Magathie. We'd putts out from Forked Creek and go over to Dobbins. We didn't have a generator, didn't have a refrigerator, didn't have any of those things. So we had a 48 quart igloo cooler.
Bingo.
And the food, I'll never forget, because like the ice and, there's a few drinks in the bottom, and the kids' drinks never made it on ice. Like you were drinking 90 degrees.
No, it's 1,000 degrees out there, and that high C and that Kool-Aid is going to be warm. The cold shit's at the bottom.
Whatever if you were lucky if you got like an Ecto Cooler high C,
That's right.
And like the food was like in those, you remember like how like the trays on the top of the cooler,
yes,
so the food wouldn't get soggy. Well, if you open that cooler up and you weren't in and out of that thing in
T-minus 2 seconds,
you were in trouble, right? And
that's a chop.
I think about it now. I'm like, you have one of the most inefficient coolers of all time, sitting out in 95-degree heat.
That's right.
With all of your food for the entire weekend. You've got no electricity. You've got none of this. And you know what?
It's awesome.
It was some of the best times of my entire life. And so awesome. You think about like the simple, I go somewhere now, and if my kids don't have, Wi-Fi for their iPads and this, that, and the other, they're just losing it. I'm like, guys, let's just enjoy.
Let me tell you something. Speaking of, and we're going on tangents. I don't care.
Right. That's fine.
We have 3 kids, similar to you guys. My oldest is 8. Spicy little thing. I can tell you that right now. This chick, she's a problem. She's
a product of you. So yes,
it's basically me,
a female version
in a female form, which is, I'm already a touch high maintenance, but this is to the nth degree. Okay. It's honestly, it's like having my mother in. It's like, you've had to deal with my mom a couple times on transactions. She's
a lovely lady.
She's something. Then we have a 5-year-old daughter, sweet as can be, but she's now figured out how to instigate and do it very well. She's just she knows what bugs people, and we'll just poke little bits. And so she does this thing. It's cute as can be, but she'll be like, "Hey, Dad, I can do your laugh." And I'll be like, "Oh, really?" She'd be like, "Oh, like that is really good.
That's a good one. That's a good one."
So it's fantastic. My 3-year-old, that's the boy. It's like having an extra dog in the house. He doesn't listen to anything. He just ruins everything, screams it's like having a dog that just barks for no reason at all times. And you're like, what? We can't teach this out of him. I don't know what the problem is, but let's just get him outside. And it's just, we've been so cooped up. So we said, all right, let's take the kids somewhere. Didn't do a ton of research. We opted to take the children to Great Wolf Lodge.
Steph took the kids there on Sunday.
Listen, there were things that I'm going to tell you. The kids had a fantastic time. Emphasis on the kids. When I walked in to Great Wolf Lodge, the aroma of marijuana was strong. And I said, not exactly what I had in mind.
Didn't know we could get a contact high in the pool today. But
Didn't think so, but here we are. Fine. I walked into the lobby to go check in. First thing I see when I get in there's a man with no shoes on, no shirt on, very rotund, very pasty, gold chains. This time of year is rough. Listen, I myself have no tan to speak of.
I need to get some rays on the bod ASAP.
But I'm also not going to be walking around shirtless. He also had tattoos of his children's feet, all of them, all 4 kids. He had 8 feet across his chest with their names across, all in cursive. And I looked at Emily and she just looked at me and smirked a little bit. And I was like, this is not exactly what I had in mind when I looked at the brochure. Okay. This was not on the list. And mind you, that was just one guy. There might have been 100 other people dressed similarly doing the same thing. And it was packed. I mean, President's Day weekend, forget about it.
Just up to this past weekend?
Yeah.
So Steph was there on Sunday.
Dude, we were there Sunday.
So Steph, she gets this, one of her friends was like, hey, we're going to take the girls up for the birthday fee. And like, we just want to get away for a night. And
Sure.
She goes up, and I had a procedure on Monday. So I had to stay home and prepare for it.
Oh, God bless you. You made the right choice. I'd rather have had a procedure.
Well, I'm literally getting text messages being like, someone has shit in the pool.
Yes, dude, someone did. Someone shit in the wave pool. Okay, I tried to tell the people that this...
Steph is going to die when I tell her this.
Dude.
She was like, I'm literally getting text messages like, someone has shit in the wave pool. And she goes, then we went to this other pool. And then I look in the water, and it was like the scene out of Caddyshack where like there's the baby Ruth.
Yes.
But it was not a baby Ruth. Someone had shit in that, and a kid picked it up and had in his hand. I was like, oh. So then that pool got shut down.
Yes.
So we lost most of the pool time on Sunday.
Most of it.
Most of the pool time.
Yep.
They hit up the arcade, though.
Now, I will say, we did go to the arcade. They also had this like little wand game, I guess. So like the kids, you get naturally everything there. I would explain this place like a land cruise is basically what Great Wolf is.
I'm not a cruiser.
I'm not a cruiser. I've been on a couple and I don't wish to go back, but the clientele that you would find on a cruise, that's who's coming to Great Wolf. And it was...
I don't think that y'all did yourselves any favor by going on President's Day weekend.
No, that is true. Like that is true. But we're also like, I don't know, maybe we'll give them something to do because we've been so damn cooped up. But it was so bizarre. But I will say the kids, they had a fantastic time. I'm not going to lie to you.
The poop situation, they had a great time. You know, so my kids are 11, 8, and 5. They're all 3 years apart, which was quasi-planned, quasi-not.
It ends up working out pretty good.
It works out pretty good because, you know, the theory was like, hey, you're never going to have 2 in diapers at the same time, which
yes,
worked for the most part. You know, Dean will be 12 in April, but he's like having a third adult parent around in the house now because he thinks he has the authority.
He does not.
He does not have actual authority nor apparent authority. He just chimes in and wants to do some parenting. And I'm like, dude, once you do your homework, once you do clean up your room, once you do all the things I've asked you to do, maybe you could chime in. But right now, leave your sisters alone.
This is an ongoing problem at our house with our oldest, who also thinks she's their mother.
Oh, it only gets worse. I will tell you that.
Oh, fantastic. I look forward to it.
So my middle, her name's Blair, but her nickname's Bear.
Yep.
And my brother nicknamed her Blair Bear, and then it just got shortened to Bear. And when Dean starts screwing with her, I'm like, don't poke the bear. Okay. Do not poke the bear. And he just can't and then,
I gotta do it.
And then she starts needling with my 5-year-old.
Huh?
And getting her all riled up. And then so I'm going to her, I'm like, do you remember when Dean does this to you? How does that make you feel? She's like, terrible. I'm like, then why are you doing that to your sister? Dean's never had that done to him because he's the oldest.
Yep.
You know better because you've already been there.
Dude, it's exhausting because they will continue to do that shit. And it's like, even though it feels really bad when somebody does it to me, I feel good doing it to somebody else. That's it. It's the devil on the shoulder, man, that takes over.
I joke a lot about it. They're good kids. There's never more I appreciate my kids than when I'm around other people's kids.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And I think kids take on the personalities of their parents at some level. And Steph is super chill. I mean, you'd have to be super chill to be married to me. Like you'd
be very type A.
I'm not type A, but Monday through Friday, I give a lot to the shop.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So last night, I had an event I had to go to. So I'm calling Steph at like 6:15, 6:30. She's like, "Hey, sweetheart, are you on your way home?" I was like, "No."
That
She's
is
like-
gonna be a no for me.
She's like, "Oh, what time are you gonna get home?" I was like, "So I forgot to tell you that I've got an event that I was started at 6 p.m. tonight and is going till 10." And I said, "But I'm self-reporting, so I can't get in trouble." And she's like, "Just because you self-report doesn't mean I can't be mad." I'm like, "No, it does. If you self-report."
If you saw, I've self-reported.
If I
I
self-report.
don't know if you heard that
Go.
part.
Yeah, it's a self-report situation, okay? I can just see her on the other end of the phone and be like, "What the hell?"
What the hell?
And
Yeah.
that is, we're trying to get better at it. I bought her, it was like the most romantic Christmas gift you could buy, which was one of these 27-inch skylights.
Oh yeah, dude, I got one.
Thing.
Yes.
And I was like,
I thought you were gonna go with edible panties or something like that. No,
that probably would have been more romantic. But I said, what's better than a digital calendar?
dude, they're awesome.
We're in the early stages of, we haven't gotten my calendar downloaded into the skylight yet.
I hear you.
Which was part of the scheduling snafu.
Sure. Well, listen, that's part of it. And these things will come, though. This is technology, you know?
Get there. I'm trying to get the sync going, figuring out how this is going to work. But she's very excited about it, and we're getting there.
That thing is awesome. You know, we try not to do any free ads here, but listen, Skylight's freaking cool.
It's
okay. And the kids like it too, because you can assign chores on there. You can assign tasks. You can see what you can filter stuff by kid, like what do they have to do today? What events do they have? And if you get, like, what I love to do is, like, when I get their random sports team emails or school emails, you can forward it to the Skylight email. AI will download the whole thing, plug into the calendar wherever it needs to go.
Their sports schedule,
it's perfect.
Like, and when you can subscribe, like, right to Teams now or Game Changer, whatever it is, and, like, you know, the coach makes a change on practice time or locations, like, dumps right down. I'm like,
right there, amazing.
This is perfect. So we're still working on getting myself integrated into the family calendar, which that will be helpful when that day occurs.
Listen, they've got some other updates too that are pretty cool. The recipe thing.
Recipe thing's pretty sweet. You can dial right into the Instacart straight from there.
Oh, how about it?
Actually, the nice thing, I got her the big one because she wanted a frame TV.
Yeah,
one of the Samsung frames, and I looked at the cost, and I was like, this is. I like nice things, but this is just a little too over the top for me.
Now we've gone too far.
I'm somewhat frugal. I'm a little frugal. Okay. So I looked at this, and I was buying a new TV for the family room, and I did not go with the frame. Got a really nice 4K, whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome. Smart.
The frames are freaking expensive, though.
Frames are expensive. So I looked at it, and I was like, well, if you get this 27-inch skylight, it has the same functionality of the frame with the photo thing that you can dump into it.
Yep.
And now she loves that part because, like, she just keeps uploading all of her family photos.
They put all the photos there.
And the kids love it because they walk by like, oh, do you remember the one we were on this trip? You know,
every time.
So kind of like it's new for us, but it's fun to have them excited about that stuff. And we're working that chore thing in, and, you know, I got to build out the recurring chore.
It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool.
Right.
Would you say, like, let me ask you a question about what would a 20-something young Brad at Salisbury say about Brad right now? Would he be grateful, thankful, or would he say, dude, you could have done this differently?
Seagull One would be
Seagull One.
That's my profile name on my Netflix account. Seagull. I'm trying to get the vanity plate for the truck to just say Seagull.
I love it. I'm the proudest
alumni of a D3 university known to man.
I don't know, man. Salisbury does have a pretty sweet following. And there's some very, very prideful
program. It's a whole.
The lacrosse program's outrageous.
And their jerseys this year are silky.
Are they? Oh, I got to check them out.
They've got, like, especially the maroon ones, like, it's got like this little thing down, and like it'll come down straight on the side, and then the shorts comes down halfway and then like rolls over.
Oh,
like, it's a nice little touch.
I like that.
Berkman's always had.
Berkman's still there.
He's still there.
Holy cow!
I think it's his 38th year there, or something like that.
I was gonna go with 80th, but yeah, dude, he's been there for ages, and they're still good. I don't know how coaches do it these days with all of the different things that have been injected in the last 10 years with NIL and the other crap. Like, I don't understand, dude.
You played in a different era in
Very
some of the
different.
ways, but the interesting part, and I think Salisbury's, it's been interesting for them because I think they've attracted a lot of people who wanted to play. They still wanted to play at a competitive level, but they didn't want to deal with the beat. Still really high caliber. I mean, this year was interesting because they did a lot of scrimmaging against D1 teams before they got into regular season.
I feel like they've done that a lot the last decade or two.
They were scrimmaging like Towson at Kent Island High School. I'm like, what do we do? Like,
wow,
it was a very interesting set, but I thought it was neat because, like, you can get this local talent that wants to stay here that can get a great education.
For sure.
Especially from the Purdue School of Business. Fantastic. But, like, you're close to home. You're still working good on it. I just think it's an interesting one. But, I mean, to your point about, like, if I flash forward from 22-year-old Brad to soon to be 41-year-old Brad, like.
Did you see this?
I am close. The funny thing about it is I had no aspirations to go to law school. Like, that was not.
What did you want to do originally? Or was it one of those situations where you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do, but I'll figure it out?
So my undergraduate's in marketing and sales.
Okay.
And I wanted to sell. I have a passion for selling. I love to sell.
That is awesome, dude. Nobody ever does. I've only had like one other buddy that has come on the pod who was like, dude, I fucking live for sales. I love it.
It's competitive to me.
Yeah.
It is a natural scoreboard. Success is a natural scoreboard, right? And I like the all-you-can-eat buffet of it, where it's like I can make my own success or not.
Yeah.
Actually, so my dad was in sales for his whole career, and he sold boat parts and accessories.
Okay.
So he drove around from marina to marina to marina every day.
Okay.
And, you'd have some marinas have like these really small, little shops inside, like, the office, and other places had much more robust offerings. But that's what he did. And I actually really wanted to kind of like follow in his footsteps because I was like, man, this is awesome. All you do is go from marina to marina all day.
This is sick. I grew up on boat. I love boats.
I worked in marina, like, over where the point is.
Yeah.
I before the point was there in high school, I'd like taking all these AP classes. And so I could get out of school at like 10.
Smart man.
So I had a job. I had a full-time job when I was a senior in high school because I'd leave there at 10:30 and go work in the marina for the rest of the day. And I just moving boats, picking up boats. It was awesome. And I loved being around the marinas and that. So I thought I was going to go do that. I got into staffing and recruiting originally. So I worked at Aerotech when I first got out of school.
All right.
Now, I came out right at the beginning of the Great Recession.
Okay.
Not a great time to be in staffing and recruiting.
Not a great time.
Not a time to be alive. Not in that gig. But that job, that's a tough gig. And Aerotech's a tough place to work. And they also have one of the best training programs out there. And, people talk about places like Enterprise, and
you will always find new grads at an Enterprise, but like never really wowed by them at all. But
it's interesting. I mean, a lot of
staffing is interesting though to me because I have like pretty good. I have no knowledge of how the staffing industry works at all, but between Aerotech, SmartLink, other shops locally that like a bunch of our connections have like, as soon as they were out of college, like that's one of the first places that a lot of these guys have gone to, and girls.
Well, and it's a great, I think often back, I'm still really close with from some of the people I worked with at Aerotech, and one of my buddies, I was with him 2 weekends ago, and we were just sitting there and we're talking about some of the people that we worked with and what they've gone on to do in their various careers. There's some wildly successul people in a lot of different things.
That's pretty cool.
The thing they taught you to do, they taught you to work. They taught you to set up your day. We used to have our first 40 calls scripted before we left the night before.
Damn.
Because we could start dialing at 8 a.m. and we had to be there by 7:30. We'd have our triangle meetings, and then we had a office-wide meeting, which was called a red zone. You come out of that, and literally 8:01, you can start dialing. And they wanted your first call sheet set up so that you weren't then trying to figure out who you were going to call. 8 to 9 o'clock is a great time period to talk to people when they're on their way to their crappy job that they don't want to go to, right?
That's actually pretty damn smart.
You got to get a lot of calls in and then you set up your day, because then you leave a message, people call you back later.
Right.
The thing I think that job, aside from like setting up and structuring your day and being really successful with that job taught me how to talk to people on the phone, be a good communicator, how to write really good email follow-ups, communicate quick. And also I had to do in-person interviews with all these people. I'm a member of what I'll call the Oregon Trail generation. It's the Zennial, where you're not quite, I'm technically a millennial, but I don't necessarily identify as one per se.
No, it's like you're like on the cusp of Gen X millennial.
Yeah, it's like, and they are actually calling it like the Zennials. It's like this micro generation that finds themselves between the two, because we operated in a world pre-internet, pre-digitalization, where you still had to talk to people, but everything was being introduced to you I think you look at stuff like AI and like, why are you accepting of these things so quickly? Well, that's been our entire life. This innovation, this technological innovation has been just we're at the forefront of it the entire time. So you just constantly take, whereas other people having to like truly change how they're operating. It's harder for them when they haven't had it and they've done their job a different way previously. And, I think growing up, my parents had a lot of older friends that were around. And when you were out on the boat for the whole weekend and you didn't have your friends with you, you were forced to talk to a lot of older people. So I got comfortable having conversations with older people and mature conversations at a younger age. I think that helped me a lot. But, the interesting part is, when I first went to law school, I was the only one in my entire class that had a business degree.
What made you want to go to law school, though?
My brother pretty much was like,
you have to do this.
You should do this. Like, okay.
All right, Jay, twist my arm.
And I mean, like, it kind of like intrigued me.
Sure.
And I remember sitting down with my dad and talking about it. And I was trying to like decide whether I wanted to do it. And he was like, look, even if you don't practice a day in your life, they can never take that education away from you. Now, that was an expensive education.
That's an expensive one.
To use it
rapidly.
But, the funny part is, it's like what I'm doing now, I think the critical thinking component of being an attorney, like, is very helpful. Like, again, that preparing for worst case scenario, that kind of that angle has been incredibly impactful. But at the same time, there's a business degree is also incredibly helpful. And in building to get here, my sales background was very helpful as well in understanding. Now, the one thing I'll say the thing that I think makes me a little bit different than a lot of other people in our industry is I synthesize a lot of information from multiple sources. So I'll take data from one place, I'll take a concept here, and I just start thinking about it and like, can I connect the dots to the two and see either the next trend, I hate when agents just take like the Maryland Association of Realtors, like infographic and just like, check out what's going on in the latest report. I'm like, you're not showing any value to your fan base.
No,
you're not saying, hey, I've looked at this. Let me tell you about the trends that I'm seeing. Let me tell you, like, let's have an actual conversation about this. Hey, this might be statewide, but in these local pockets, demand is still incredibly high here, or,
exactly. Give context to stuff.
And I think just too many people don't want to go to that next level. They just want to hit the easy button and let it roll. I'm a huge nut about stats, and I like them so much because I think it helped. I got really into tracking market share, and it was in part, I started doing it in 22 because when the interest rates went from 3 to 7% over 3 months and the market just went, I couldn't figure out whether we were losing or whether it was just market conditions. And the only way I stayed sane was I could live with having reduction in sales if it was market conditions. I was not okay with it if we were just losing market share.
Exactly.
So I started tracking it like super tight, and I got a really nerdy spreadsheet where I
got the same thing, man. I know what you're talking about.
And like I like seeing it because I like to see where the trends go. And sometimes I'll give you a great example. So we actually had a bad market share in December. It was like a 0.5% reduction over what we normally have from our general market share of the state.
Sure.
And I was like, this is a problem. Then January, we had the snowstorm hit, a lot of transactions.
Oh, God, don't remind me.
So the revenue was down, but then I looked at the market share, and not only did we get everything back that we had lost in December, it was our best market share ever. And so it made me feel a little bit better because then it was like not just related, like I beat the market. I'm always looking for like a scoreboard on how I can, I wasn't a college athlete in the same way that you were, but I'm hyper competitive and I've got to find, like, that's the thing I liked about selling was it wasn't me against someone else. It was me against myself. And
Yes.
Can I just go push myself harder? Can I just go, what is the work that I'm willing to do to make myself better? I talk to my sales team all the time and I'm like, guys, I'm going to give you this information. I'm going to give you the conversations that I think you should be having, but I can't go out and have those conversations for you.
Correct.
And part of listening to me talk about it or go read about it, it doesn't have to be the stuff I'm talking about, but go educate yourself on something. Become an expert on something. Be able to, all the time, I think in our industry, especially as a service provider, people want to take the BS that they're given. And, when an agent says like,
it's recycling it.
It's like, this market's terrible. Inventory is just so bad, blah, 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 blah. Those are their personal excuses as to why they haven't produced.
Yes. Thank you.
And for me, I'll sit there and go, no matter what, pre-COVID, it was, values aren't there. This isn't here. COVID, it was like, oh my God, we don't have any inventory. Well, yeah, we also had 2 of the best years of the history of the entire real estate market ever.
Exactly.
Simmer down. Anyone bitching about at that point? Like, doesn't make any sense. And then it's interest rates. And then it's just, I'm like, well, there were still 64,000 homes sold in the state of Maryland last year. It wasn't a goose egg. It's now what percentage of the 64 did you go out and get?
I think like you mentioned stats and being kind of like I might be taking your words and making them mine, but data nerd. I do the same shit. And it's not because like, I don't look at it as like, oh, if I have all the data and all the numbers, I'm going to be the best. I like finding context for stuff because I'm a sports guy.
Okay.
I can tell you growing up to now, there are plenty of guys that you would see on an NFL Hall of Fame or an NBA Hall of Fame list, and you can look at their statistics and be like, wow, but context matters because if you actually physically watch those games, take a guy like a James Harden, for example, incredibly talented. If you look at just the numbers, it's going to be like, whoa, that dude is incredible. But when you actually sit down and you drill in on him, you realize super skilled player, but very limited when it matters the most. And that is
when it matters the most and didn't fit in a lot of teams and
exactly
that provided for it. And that's the context.
That's the context.
And I think there's too many people that don't understand that the context is the entire shooting match.
Exactly.
And, because you can sit there and I can give you national numbers.
Right.
Those don't mean anything here locally.
No.
This market compared to Austin, Texas is totally different.
Completely different.
If you look in, even let's take the state of Maryland, different than anywhere else. Let's go hyper local and go into Anne Arundel County as an example. There's parts of the county that are moving right now, and there's parts that are sitting right now.
Very stagnant.
Sometimes even within a zip code, there's going to be certain communities that are always going to move.
No matter what. They have the character, they got the prestige, whatever it is.
There's a few of them that everyone wants to be in, and they're always going to move. They're always going to retain the value at some level. So I just don't think that it's too many people just they want that easy button. They want to just be able to give the one-liner.
Right.
I don't have a problem pushing back and saying, I hear what you're saying there, but I just don't agree.
Right.
And not enough people, I think everyone just wants to keep piling the BS.
Keep moving it on. Yeah, exactly.
If I don't agree with what you say, we can have a healthy conversation about it. And I might be able to say, look, based off my experience, I don't agree with that. I think it's X, Y, or Z. And I might be able to give you a contextual point that you can use with your clients. Cause I don't think a lot of take alert. I don't think there's a lot of brokerages that are actually offering guidance to agents.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
We're not set up that way anymore. And so I think too many agents are getting their information from very bland sources. They're listening to the national trends. They're listening to all these other things, and they're not getting that guidance. And it especially concerns me about newer agents because they are just.
I'd say it's newer agents, and it's also like I remember even coming into this industry 13 years ago, honestly, she's one of my favorite managers ever. She's fantastic. She ended up convincing me to get my real estate license and go. Kathy Brooks.
I love KB.
Absolutely love her.
KB.
She's my favorite. She was a mentor of mentors, always trying to teach and provide context and give examples. And, that was so valuable to me, because if you look at what we have now in terms of an industry, it's not a lot of that. It's pretty depersonalized. And one of the things that we're supposed to be doing as agents is making it a super user experience. But you can't really do that if you're not educated on how to do that. And part of that education is having context. Nationally is fine and give you an idea of what people are reading in the headlines, but you have to stay on top of stuff locally. So in addition to just looking at all the numbers that we have that come in through Bright or whatever service we have, I will also track the consumer index, consumer confidence stuff, average mortgage rates over time, tracking, the Dow Jones, because that kind of stuff will, again, give you an idea of, all right, well, this is kind of like where the average buyer that we're dealing with, which most of our buyers these days are a little bit higher end than they had been in the past, just because people can afford more stuff than they've been able to 10 years ago. So your average price is a little bit higher, but this is still like some of the context we're providing. But at the same time that you're looking at the numbers and the data there, you also have to read what is happening locally. What kind of developments are coming in? What kind of regulations are going out? Because if somebody, it might seem like innocuous and stuff that you don't really, it's not really going to affect you, like short-term rental thing and
stuff.
It's like, who cares? But dude, it's going to have a big impact, because it's going to affect some of the people that were thinking about purchasing and using something as an Airbnb. It's also going to affect the people that currently have them as Airbnbs. And, it's going to have positive effects and negative effects depending on who you are. But it will, if some piece of legislation passes like that might seem small, that could mean an extra 2% uptick in listings that we're sorely needing. That kind of stuff can really make the difference in laying out for a prospective buyer or a prospective seller. This is what we're seeing. And this is why
your buyer,
you should do this, or why you shouldn't do this yet.
I'm not a big fan of restriction on property rights. That's a big central theme for me. Like, I hate that. You talk about like the Airbnb restrictions, or that's a form of not in my backyard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
It's the same thing with development, right? But at the same time, then everyone's also over on the other side saying, hey, home affordability is a major, crisis.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I'm like, you can't cry over here about NIMBY and development and creating more inventory. It's straight supply and demand.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that I find too many people don't understand enough of, is
the economics of everything.
The economics of it all.
Yeah.
And just how supply and demand really, really works. And, I'll never forget when we first started working together, that was an era that you could wing out an offer at like 30% off list and no one had a problem with it. It'd be like, that's listed for 400. Let's give them 275 and let's see how this thing shakes out.
You are so right. And you just reminded me of a good friend of mine. I love him to death. I won't say his real name on here. We'll call him, I won't use his last name. Jim. Jim, no matter what, whenever we're house hunting, like if he will have a budget in mind for whatever it is. Let's say it's his budget's 600. He'll send me stuff at $1 million and be like, you want to make the call? I'd be like, oh, hold on. What's the call? He's like, see if they'll take 600 cash. I'm like, dude, that worked 10 years ago. It's not going to work now.
But it's crazy. Like, even, look, we're not 40-year industry veterans.
No,
but the industry change that we've seen since we've been in the game.
Oh, it's probably about the same. It's about
it's just been compressed.
It's just been compressed down. So exactly right.
If you look at it from the perspective of, we went from the foreclosure and short sale era to low interest rates. There was such an influx of inventory at that time period because of the foreclosures. By the time that all the robo signing crap all got done, you could kind of just wing out some offers and be okay with it.
Yep.
Then 16, 17 occur. Like, everyone talks about the COVID era being like this crazy time. We were already short on inventory pre-COVID.
At that point, yeah.
Like, that 17 was like late 16, early 17 was when that first started to really, I'll never forget, February of 17 was a hot market. Like, demand, it was like the earliest spring market we'd ever seen. And it just kept rolling. And it was the same in 18, the same in 19, and then 20. That's when those rates dropped right before COVID. And I mean, I tell the story all the time because we had the most refinance orders that we had ever taken in over a 30-day period in the 4 weeks leading up to the shutdown. And I had this massive pipeline that we couldn't close. And so for like 3 weeks, I'm just laying there at night. You know, the business that I just worked to build is just going away.
Yep.
I'm going to go out of business. And then they opened up doing closings again. And then the next month and a half was just because everyone was like, those rate locks weren't getting extended. So we had, I mean, I've got pictures of us from like literally like early April of 20, where we're doing closings with gloves with no masks.
Yeah.
Because that was like what everyone told you at the time, right?
That's what you had to do.
Believe the information. So I went from working, being 3 weeks not sleeping to next month not sleeping because we were closing them from 6 o'clock in the morning until midnight.
Yeah.
And doing some pretty wild closings, because everyone well, I'm not like comfortable doing the closing with you.
Dude, you guys did one like on the hood of somebody's car for us because they were like, listen, I'm not going in there. I'm not going in the office. We're like, okay.
That was the best part about having a pickup truck. Meet me out back.
Meet me out back. Come on, baby.
We're doing it on the bed, okay? I'll never forget it. One day, Terry was doing a closing out in the gazebo next to our office, and he went to come in, and this big wind gust hit, and the entire loan package dispersed over the entire parking lot. And I think I'll try and see if I can find the video because he was literally just scrambling around the parking lot and I'm watching it from my office.
Just dying.
We're going to have to re-sign this whole
thing. Holy shit.
What is? But it was a different era. And like you go from that, then you get this interest rates go up, buyer demand drops. Then all of a sudden, we saw this shift from a wild seller's market that it had become because of the compressed inventory to, all right, well, no, we're not really in a buyer's market. In my opinion, it's pretty neutral right now. I think it's a
pretty healthy, like from the metrics, it's still a seller's market. Like it's still around 2% or I'm sorry, 2 months of inventory, but it doesn't feel like that. I think the weird part right now is like the ultra luxury stuff is doing like really well.
Oh yeah. That's
the other stuff that is like pretty good is we're back. We've been back to like a condition is king kind of market, which is, we've traditionally had. It's like the better that look in the house is, the better stage it is, the better condition it is. Like it's good. That's gonna.
Your point about the people can afford more.
Oh yeah.
They don't have the cash. They've got the earning potential.
Yeah, that's true.
So they can qualify. So that's where condition matters. You got something turnkey right now. People will pay for it.
You better believe it.
I was the only idiot that went in and bought a real dumpster fire, spent my life savings to put it back together. I was in a fortunate position to be able to do that because I created something that is now turnkey.
Yep.
But
took a lot of money to get it there though.
Took a lot of money to get it there. And I was like
and it's pretty stressful living through a reno.
Oh, and I did that while the interest rates were in the second half of 22 when the rise was going.
Yep.
And the value of the old house dropped.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there going,
oh boy,
I just made the worst decision I've ever made in my entire life. And I'm going to bankrupt my family as a result of it. And
that's right.
my wife just watched me just like squirm, and it all came out fine. But the reality of it is that it would have been a lot easier. A home just sold near me for a ridiculous price, but it was done.
Yeah.
Guy's like, you see that detached garage over there? I want that.
Yeah. Well, look,
he moved 4 doors down.
That's it.
4 doors. He had a beautiful house. He moved 4 doors down for that one to be done, and he wanted that, and he had the money, and he said, I'm doing it.
Because he didn't have to put the work in. He could afford to do it, and people will pay the premium. People that can will pay the premium for something that is done when the market's tight, when there's a bunch of inventory that is around us that was built in the 60s and 70s, which sometimes can be awesome if it's been, updated and really, really thoughtfully. But not all of it is. A lot of it's like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and it's cute looking. It's painted nice. It's decorated beautifully, but it's not today's standard. And we are very privileged in a lot of cases because we have so much more access to TV and see what the massive renovations can go and look like. You have Pinterest, for God's sakes, where you can get every idea under the sun. And so everybody has a much higher expectation and an elevated palette, I guess you could say, of what things could look like. And we have that. And then people want it, but then you start talking with contractors, local or otherwise, and you get an idea of what that price is to get it like that. And it's like, oh, well, and you can't start for 6 months, and I can't move back into the house until 18 months from now. Well, maybe listen, we don't have to move. We can make this work.
There was a lot of people.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the interesting part for me, and I agree with you, like the one part about, I'll say, I was fortunate that Steph wasn't working when we did the reno, because she could be there.
That is helpful.
And she could make the decisions and be quick.
Yeah.
And it didn't take my focus off running the shop because she was there making all the decisions, doing that. I was just merely a checkbook at that point. Like that was my role in the transaction.
Yeah.
I moved for a lifestyle change, and because I wanted to I live across the street from my brother. It's very cool to have all of the nieces and nephews grow up together. It's awesome. I love it. I made the move for a lifestyle decision. Steph did all that, so I didn't have to focus on that. She'd be like, what do you care? I'm like, I'm trying to keep this thing together right now. Just let me focus on the shop. You focus on that. I think there's a lot of people that don't realize how much time and focus it takes away from your other part of your life when you're trying to do that. And so that's why I think condition matters the most, and why people are willing to pay for the turnkey way more. And look, there's a lot of contracting options out there that can go in and do the rehab on the way out to try and maximize your dollars. Some people it's right for, some people it's wrong for, and there's a lot of reputable companies with it. I think for me, there was a lot of what I call skip buyers who, when the interest rates were low, they bought a house that they could have never afforded.
Right, of course.
So they went from, maybe it was a first-time home buyer that skipped the condo or the townhouse and went straight to the small single family. Maybe it was the person who was coming from the townhouse, but instead of going to the small single family, they went to the forever house.
That's right.
Now, if you did that in 20 or 21 and you just took a ride on the price appreciation, maybe it's now the time to do the cash out refi, even though you're going to give up your interest rate,
right,
to access that equity in the house,
to make it your own,
to reinvest it in the house, because you're not having to do that next transaction. Like I call them the missing transactions that, pre-COVID, people were buying a new house every 5 to 7 years on average, right?
It's like 12 or 14 now or something like that.
It's going to be 12 to 14 years. So when you talk about, like, when I say the missing transaction, well, where are we in that cycle? We're at the beginning of the 5 to 7 year cycle. Yeah. Why are we only going to have 4 million homes sold in the United States? The skip transactions, or the skip buyers and the missing transactions, I think are a bigger piece of it than anyone's giving credit to. And this has been like something I've actually been talking about this.
That's a really good point.
And you're starting to see the net effect of it. Now, there's a lot of people who bought a house during COVID at, like, when supply and demand was out of whack, and they had to give up their firstborn child, and like they missed out on 10 other houses. So they just had to go.
Yep.
A lot of those people are starting to sell because they're not that happy in it.
Yeah.
Like, the one thing I'll say is about the last snowstorm we just went through. If you didn't like your house before that snowstorm,
woo,
You are about. There's some listing appointments about to be.
There is some listing appointments to be had, but
people are like, you know what? This is not exactly.
This is not exactly what we thought it was gonna be, babe.
Yeah. So
that's so true, man. Dude, I didn't even think about it in that context with the skip buyers, but that's such a good point, and it's so true.
And I think it's going to be a little bit more suppressed than we otherwise would normally see as a result of that, which is okay.
Yeah.
Look, there's some people that have been hanging on in our industry that need to get out from a natural position. I think some of them, it's actually, you're still seeing the effects of the financial crisis where they had to work longer than they wanted to.
Sure.
Our industry is so interesting because we don't have like that retirement moment. Like, unless you're very planned and very certain about it, because the toughest part is you're under contract and you're working with someone. You're like, all right, this is going to be my last deal. And then all of a sudden, you're like, someone else calls you, like, hey, Shane, would you sell my $1 million house? You're like, fuck, I'll do one more.
All right, one more.
I'll do one. But yeah, so you see those moments and you're like, so I think people like elongate it out.
Yeah.
Too much. I saw a stat the other day that kind of shocked me. It said that almost 50% of the title industry will retire by the year 2030. I was like, wow, that's 4 years. That's 4 years.
50%? Now, did they think that that's AI driven or age out or a combination of
It's
the
a
things?
combo.
Okay.
It's a look. There's. I went to my first Maryland Land Title Association event like 16 years ago, and I was the youngest guy in the room.
Well, I believe that. Yeah.
I went like 3 months ago, and I was still the youngest guy. Like, no one's. They're not.
That's true.
It's not a sexy business. If you're, I was like, hey, let me tell you about this great career path.
Do you know why? Because when every movie you ever fucking see about lawyers, it's Lincoln Lawyer. It is somebody is up on a murder trial and we are trying to, you can't handle the truth. That's the kind of shit that we go to the movies to see. We are not going to the movies to watch somebody handle a land deal.
Yeah. It's like, hey, let me talk. How do we put this sexy line in about a building restriction line encroachment?
Did you need an easement?
We've got a big take here.
Yeah, that's right. Unless it's
is across the property.
Unless Rachel McAdams is my attorney that is drafting those documents, I can assure you I'm not watching it.
Yeah, there's nothing sexy about the business. And, when you look at it, you add that with the wire fraud and the attack.
That's true.
I don't know why I do it.
At this point, it's a community service.
It's really just a community service effort. I should, if it's but you get to that and it really is this moment where it's too risky. It's not fun.
Yeah.
The stress is immense. I love it still. Terry and I always refer to like that next contract that comes in as oxygen.
That is true. Yeah.
So the next, you're just like, I always say the day that I don't get excited about getting a contract, then I'm done. That'll be the day that I just, put me down.
I get more excited about getting a contract on something than I do that contract closes, which sounds ridiculous because you're only doing this so that it closes. But that initial feeling of getting something,
it's an excitement of the new journey that's about to begin.
Yes.
And I think, that part's interesting to me. I actually love working with first-time home buyers.
Same here.
Like, some people hate it. And I look at it as the opportunity for me to.
Generally, I really like it. I don't like it if they back out of a deal for something stupid. Don't get me wrong. You see a few. You see it. I saw it recently.
You see a few terms like that, and you're like, all right, guys, these homes are not new construction. Even new construction's not.
Dude, you go through new construction, it's like, whoa. You do the blue tape exercise, and all of a sudden the house is now made of blue tape, and you're like, this is a lot. So I don't know. I mean, everything is going to have something with it. I love the educational piece with first-time home buyers because it makes me, I don't know, anytime I have to teach something, it either reinforces something that I know I should be doing that I'm like might have laxed on or whatever, or I'm teaching myself at the same time. Like, well, now I'm like, let me put myself in your shoes and let me think, okay, well, listen, this is what the A, B, C, and I don't know, it just helps me at the same time that it's helping them to talk through some of these things and have those moments.
I think the interesting thing and the reason why I like first-time homebuyers so much is I get to set the standard of what they should expect
That
their
is true.
experience to be to move forward.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, there's nothing that I like more, and this isn't a first-time homebuyer situation, but there's nothing that I like more with seller. I'm meeting with the seller and they're coming in and I'm doing a closing for the buyer and they're like, see our shop.
Yeah.
And they look at their agent and they're like, why did you make me go to this shit box over here to do my deal? Like, they were terrible, and then it's like, well, and what the agent can't go is, well, this is my affiliated title company.
Well, exactly.
Or this is who's paying for my leads, or this is who's doing this. Like, they can't get those words to come out of their mouth.
No.
But like, so, I always say, because I'm not an affiliated with a brokerage, or I don't have JVs or anything like that with anyone, I've got to be 3 times better than my competition.
Yeah. From a lot of different angles too. Like, not just like we'll call it the user experience. It's not just that. Like, it's also like, not only do I have that, I don't have people feeding me businesses like you mentioned the title companies that are kind of like in-house title companies. They get the advantage of having people just come to them just because, like, it's almost like a car dealer. People are just coming in, they're interested in buying already. And now all you got to do is just not fuck it up. So you have to go out and physically get them to come to you. How do you do that? You have to build relationships and maintain relationships with agents first and foremost. That's like probably the biggest source of business. Then on top of that, you have to do all this marketing with either print magazines that are, perfect local spots for you guys to be in and advertise your services, do the digital advertising, do whatever the hell you got to do. Now, in the last 5 years, everybody's got to do this freaking video stuff because all these algorithms, all they pump out now is video. People are now doing podcasts like me, like, holy shit, I was a real estate agent. Now I'm a fucking creator. What is happening? Like, there's so many different things you have to do.
The other tack that we took it with it was philanthropy.
That's true. Yeah.
That was a different tack that we took. I mean, the core purpose of our business is to serve our people and community with exceptional experiences. And we look at that as our people are both our internal employees as well as our clients and referral sources. And the community is where we live, work, and play.
Right.
Yeah. I live a mile from the house I grew up in. I'm a Broadneck Peninsula boy. I'm always going to be a Broadneck Peninsula boy. When I described to my wife the area that I was willing to live in, I said, I want to be on this side of the Seven River Bridge. I don't want to be on the other side of the Bay Bridge, and I'm not willing to go north of College Parkway. And she said, you just described the Broadneck Peninsula.
So here,
there you go.
That is it. You nailed it.
But like, there's because I live where I grew up, I feel really attached to the community here, and I am attached to the community here. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people, they either say they are, and then they don't follow through.
True.
And it's not just about writing a check. It's not just about going to an event. Like, you got to do it all. And, we've got a monthly cause that we support every month, and people get to.
You guys, I've seen you guys do Fish for a Cure. I've seen you. I mean, you guys have done
I got
so much.
I'm getting to one of the chairs for Fish for a Cure this year, which is really exciting. Cool. So we got involved in Fish in 2018, and it's kind of become like my passion to do it. We're actually, we are likely to go over $1 million raised through Team Real Council this year for our lifetime, which will be, there's 2 teams that are in the running to see who can get there first. Me and Laxfish and Real Council and Laxfish, and they happen to be our competitors, but some really good friends too. And I think that part of it is even more fun. The other co-chair for Fish this year is Rich Bowen, who is the captain at Laxfish, and he and I just really solid friends, and it's become a lot of fun to do. I mean, last year we raised I think it was 1.4 million.
Damn.
In effectively a crowdsourcing fundraising tournament.
That's crazy, dude.
Like, this isn't a charity golf tournament deal that we're doing here. This is like real dollars, real competitiveness. And it's also awesome because it literally is impacting the hospital a half mile from here.
That is pretty cool.
We're sitting right now.
I noticed that is something that you guys have been very, very strong with, is in terms of getting and maintaining a local presence. Because almost everybody that's at Eagles local. It's not like nobody's really like kind of relocated in and just like starting anew. Everybody is born here, raised here. People have different backgrounds, different histories. Some people's families have been in it, some people haven't. But the way that you guys have like been able to maintain presence and continue growing year after year after year, I feel like when you guys are doing these philanthropic things, whether it's a fish for cure thing or being on the board of the hospital and things like that, it's just further entrenching yourselves in there. And I just think it's so cool, man. I'm sure it helps with the growth of the company and stuff, but like
I would
just
be
awesome.
lying if I said it didn't do that. But, you know, I'll never forget, when I first got out of law school, my partner, Terry, said to me, he goes, all right, what organization are you going to get involved with? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, you're out of school now.
You're doing it.
You need to go build your book of business.
Yep.
What organization are you going to get involved with? Hadn't really put any thought to it. And the thing that he said to me, and there's a lot of Terryisms that we could go on for.
Oh my God.
Love the man. But one of them was, he goes, you need to get involved and start building your professional life and show people what you can do. Oh. Especially when you're young. When you're young and people don't want to trust you with the biggest transaction in their life, or agents didn't want to trust me with their paychecks and whether I was going to get it there, you have to show them and give value and do the work to prove it before you ask for it. And in that world, it was go out and get involved in networking organizations, go out and get involved in philanthropic endeavors, sit on a board, show the board that you know what you're doing, show the board your competency, and then it grows around you. And so all of our people, when they join, you get the same thing. You go give back to your community. It will give back to you more than you'll ever. And like, again, there is a business component to it, but there's also improving these communities that win. Our world is so fractured at this point.
Oh yeah.
Give back and do something to make your community better. And like, that's the thing that I love. Growing the business has been one of the great challenges of my life. And I'm not here to tell you I've got it figured out. I lay awake at night, most nights thinking about it.
Well, you're doing something right.
I got a really fantastic team that I work with. Like
that's half the battle, is making sure that
I'm a maverick when it comes to things, because I'm like, I'm just like an idea guy. I'm like,
we should do it. I don't know how we're going to do it, but figure it out.
If someone could go implement it, and that's true. I mean, like everyone who works with me, I'm constantly just on to the next thing. And the staying power is what they do with me and push me. And they've pushed me to far greater places than I would ever have gotten on my own. So my team is truly the best. They're good. They're good to me. They're great people. They believe in it. And I think, like, you know, take when we opened the Baltimore location and acquired the company that we did to bring it. That office is, they started the Swim Across America chapter.
Oh yeah.
Up there. And they've raised over $5 million, you know, through what all Betsy has done up in that quarter. Like, talk about like, it's not just, hey, it's not lip service. You go do it. You get involved with it. You feel good about it. And as a company, we've made a commitment to backing our people up.
Right.
If they're going to go out, you know, last night it was at the Touchdown Club event.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what? We generally don't support things that we're not involved with. I want people involved. I want to know why we're doing it. I want to see the value of it. I want to see them grow. I want to see the connections. I want to see them give back to their community, because it's not just about writing a check. I get asked for checks all the time. I want to be there. I need someone from my team there. I need to be involved at some level, because we want to, you talk about a grassroots style, the staying power. Too many people just want the check. They just want the money, but it's the involvement. It's the relationship.
I'll give you the check, but I need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
There's a component where, like, it's not an ATM.
Right.
Like, we got to all be fair to each other. As I said, the margins aren't great. You got to be able to get the value out of it. And at the same time, you know, over the years, I've learned how to be bougie on a budget.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't know how to be bougie on a budget. And it kills me, because they'll just ask for dollars, and you're sitting there like, you're just going to waste this stuff because you don't know what you're doing with it. You think that this is, you know, your open house needs a 3-piece band in the corner. Like, that's the difference between
somebody writing an offer and not. Well, I was on the fence about this, but that quartet was fantastic. So
I'm willing to put up the extra million. That band's the top.
This house is exquisite. Was that from I Love You, Man? My buddy is such an idiot. He would come into my open houses sometimes when I was starting out. And he would be like, Shane, you know I'm not buying anything in here, but I am going to come into your open house and I am going to just be like, I don't think you're asking enough. This house is exquisite. And he would do, I swear to God, if he had a free weekend, he would do it every single time. And I'd be like, oh my God, you gotta leave. You gotta go.
I must have this house immediately.
Yes, it was incredible.
Just stoke up some sand.
Thought he was so good at doing it. I'm like, oh my God, bro. This is not how we do this. That's so cool, man. I think the community piece is huge. I think that it's something that I want to do more of for me, for our group, because as much as it definitely does help business, but I think there is a character piece that builds on you when you have, and from a couple of different angles too, I guess, because it's not just the relationship that you build with the people that are there and the connection that you build with them, but it's also like kind of further entrenches you into the area and you get a little bit more pride in where you live, which that matters, man.
Well, I think the other thing, and you're about to get to this level with your kids. Like I've always been a few years ahead of you in like the marriage game, the parent game. I like the fact that my kids watch what we do in the community.
That is cool.
Cause I'm like, they'll ask me all the time, like, well, why do you do all this stuff with fish? Why do you do this? And I said, because it's our responsibility as a member of this community that we improve the lives of others. It is our responsibility to do that. It's not an option.
Yeah.
Like if we're given the resources to do it and the platform to do it. And I think that for me, because the business has been successful over the years, it has given me some financial resources to do it. You also like have to want to do it and you have to want to be involved and show up. And I think the side of that to me is like, I've started taking the kids with me to events.
It's pretty cool.
Like we'll go do it. We'll go, like I want them to give back. One of the things we do is we have a paid day of service for everyone in the company and they get to pick what they want. And I don't care whether you're the CEO or no matter what seat and out, everyone is empowered to take advantage of this. And I always tell them, I don't care what you do. Just give back to your community in some way for that day.
Right.
And some of it is going on your kid's field trip.
Oh, that's a good one, man. Holy cow. That is service, by the way.
Well, yeah, if you've ever been on I had to go on a bus with a whole bunch of fifth graders last year. I was like, oh boy.
It's a problem.
Went all the way down to St. Mary's County and back. And I was like,
oh my God. What'd you do in St. Mary's County?
They had the
Calvert Cliffs or whatever.
Like the first settlement down there with like all the ships and everything.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Whatever. And it's pretty cool. But the 2-hour ride down and back with a bus full of fifth graders was a situation.
I can imagine. Not awesome.
Fortunately, I had my AirPods with me, but you do something like that. And like, I think the reason why I like it is because too many employees, like they don't want to give up a day of their vacation to go on the field trip. I want them to feel like they're involved in their kid's school. I want them to feel like they can get to do that. Or, some people are big in the SPCA. We've got people who are big with the food bank. Mentioned the board at the hospital. We've got my partner, Tom, is on the head of the board for the wellness house.
Oh yeah.
Doing some awesome stuff. We've got like all these people, Betsy's got Swim Across America. All these people have these different little things. And it's like, I always love it because when you see like pictures of the team, Megan here does the Live Like Noah walk for MAD. And the cool part about it too, like there's in our office, we've got like rotating pictures in the bullpen of like all this stuff. And you see the other team members show up and support the other people's causes.
That is pretty cool.
Like for the MAD walk for the Noah's team with Megan, there must have been 25 employees there and their families. So now like
it was like culture building,
and it's not like forced culture building. They want to do it for each other because it's something that those people are passionate about.
It's cool, man.
So it's been.
You ever look back on it and think like, shit, we kind of did foster this. This is pretty cool. That's got to be a pretty humbling moment.
It's humbling for sure. And I also look at it as like there's so much opportunity ahead too.
Yeah.
And one thing we've never been good at is celebrating our wins along the way or accomplishments along the way. Because I always think that I always love December 31st. And in some ways, I always love January 1st too.
Yeah.
Like I love every year. I always say that I'm going to go away the last week of the year and
You never do.
Do that, right? Never do. My wife wanted to kill me this year because I told her that I had blocked off some time, and
I did not.
I went to that instead. But I like the scoreboard on December 31st to see, did we hit the goal that we said we wanted to get to?
Right.
And then January 1st resets me because I'm like, all right, now we're back at zero.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I've said this on the pod before, but I'll share it here. Like, one of my favorite athletes ever is not very athletic.
Talking Charles Barkley?
No, Charles.
The
round mound rebound. No, I'm talking TB, Tom Brady. And anytime he was asked, and this is, primarily in the last 10 years of his career, what's your favorite Super Bowl ring? His response was always the next one. And I think that there is a certain psychology that you have to adopt to be at the top of your game that will not allow you to celebrate those wins, even though some part of you is probably like, man, I should be like, we should do something for this because this is awesome. Like, I think there's a part of you that knows there's always more work to be done. There's more that we can do. There's more that we can be. And so even though you have that gratitude for what's been accomplished, you have that confidence that you know that you can move forward, you still know that there's more ahead. And I think that you're mentally prepared to attack that journey. It's not really like, it's not time to pop champagne and do the stuff. Like,
I look at it, I mean, I think we've got like 52 employees in the title company right now, something like that. I look at myself as a steward of and I'm responsible for 52 families.
Yeah.
This is how I look at it personally. That means I need to innovate and adapt to current market and what's going forward with AI. I need to be able to protect them, and by protecting the business itself. I'm reading a book right now, which has re-energized me in a big way. It's called The Founder's Mentality.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I haven't read it though.
It's pretty unique. It's interesting. And what I find interesting about it is like, it's reconnecting me with the early years of the business.
Yeah.
And look, anytime you've got growth, T always says to me, he's like, everyone's not excited about your growth or our growth, whatever, which is true.
Yeah.
There's people who are like, I remember when, I wish you guys were still the size you used to be. It was more boutique. It was more this. And I'm like, yeah, but I can also sit here and have the conversation that we're having right now. And the whole Eagle team is running the shop.
Exactly. I couldn't have done that before.
Like, I would have been losing my mind. But like, I've got 4 attorneys on staff, and I've got a team of just dedicated professionals that are running our wire room and the funding process. And I've got, the processing team members and the post-closing members and our underwriting team members that are all doing their roles, and it's happening all around us. That allowed us to build a business that could service our clients in a big way, in a lot of ways, without me. And that was tough.
That's tough.
Especially the people that I felt like I brought into the business. And not everyone loves it. And we've lost some relationships as a result of that. And it's tough because I still have tried to maintain a lot of my book and service it, which has been harder. But, I've been able to go and learn from some of the best people in our industry nationally. I've built this awesome network of people that I network with. And when I say network, we mastermind together. And it's people that do the same thing, but in all different geographies.
Sure.
So we're not in the room as competitors talking. We're feeding each other.
Like, this worked for me. This didn't work for me. Like,
we've been able to move our business forward probably 5 to 7 years ahead of where we should be.
Because of that.
That's
cool. Damn.
And they're willing.
The power of networking, man.
Well, and they're just good people. And like, they're, and so I get a lot of these. My wife laughs at me all the time. She's like, for someone who runs a local business, you sure travel a lot. I'm like, and I just texted her. I'm
easy hater.
Yeah. I just texted her today. I'm like, all right, I'm going to Texas in April, and I'm going, to North Carolina here. I'm doing this. And she's like, what? Don't you run a local business? I'm like, yeah, but this is where the information is. And it's not like, could we do these on a Teams call?
Sure. Oh, God.
But the relationships that you build with it are just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, I could text a group chat I'm in right now with 15 of these people and be like, I'm having this issue. Does anyone have any ideas?
It's invaluable to have that stuff because you never know. I mean, it's probably even more so in your industry. Well, we're in the same industry, but like the practices are more strict doing what you do than they are doing what I do. And so having that like feedback from other people that are in states that maybe they don't operate the same way that we do, but this is what's worked for them. We had this issue. This is how we got it past it. All right. Well, can we do that same thing here? And will it work? Or do we have a constraint?
The ideas that come out of it are just great.
That's so cool.
There's industry titans that are in there. There's ones that I was laughing. I had to go to Nashville last year because I was speaking at a conference about organic growth.
Yeah.
And we had 3 different guys on the panel and I was the organic growth guy. And I'm like, the youngest one there. I'm like, okay. One was talking about JVs and there was a few different ways we were talking about it. And we went to a dinner that night and then there's actually this really cool speakeasy that was in the basement of our hotel.
Oh, that's cool.
You had to go through like a broom closet to get into.
Oh, shut up.
It was wild. And like you had to like know one of the doormen to like show you what broom closet to go into. And so I'm sitting down there with these guys that are just way ahead of me in life. And guys like, I like you.
Thank you.
I'm going to mentor you. That's the best part. I actually just got a text from that group chat just for now.
Hell yeah.
But like, they're like, I'm going to mentor you. I'm like, what's in it for you? And he's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
He goes,
I just know that I get to help somebody.
I see myself 10 years ago in you, and I'd like to see you get to the next level. And I look at it for me as like the next level and what's in it for the clients of Eagle as an example.
Yeah.
The next level. It's the next level of resources. It's the next level of fraud protection. It's the next level of creating a better experience for our clients and referral sources. It's being able to see what's coming next in the business before we're not reacting to it. We're driving it. I think there's going to be mass consolidation in the title space. And I think that I just spent on Friday on this new tool.
You don't have to say.
It was close to the cost of my first house.
If anybody is missing an escrow check, please refer to Bradley Walsh.
And the crazy part was I didn't have a problem making that investment.
No, because if you have the backing behind you, you have you've spent knowing how diligent you are, you've spent enough time looking at that and going through every scenario. And this is going to work for us.
I'm not a quick decision maker. There's no one in my life that would say, you know what, that guy
is impulsive.
Yeah. No one has people have called me a lot of things. No one has ever said you're impulsive.
Listen, unless there's a Coors Light around, and then it better be freaking cold.
If the mountains aren't cold, we're not now. If there's a natural light or a Coors Light in the vicinity and it's close to 5 o'clock, we're rolling.
Listen, if you're around Brad Walsh and you are a Coors Light, it is a bad day to be a Coors Light. That's for sure.
You sit there and I look at it and the team did watch me waffle on that decision for a little while.
Yeah.
And it probably took me 2 or 3 months to like fully get comfortable because of the cost associated with it.
Sure.
But I just looked at it and so I'm sitting there. I inked the deal at like 7:30 Friday night. I was like, happy Valentine's Day weekend.
Yeah. Woo.
Sweetheart. Let's get going.
He's like, all right, talk to me. When was your day today? Baby, I just spent more money.
She was like,
on a tool.
Yeah. How is this helping me? But
that is romantic.
Yeah. But you got to, and what I started looking at was the competitors that won't be able to make that same investment. They're going to be slower.
Yeah.
Their communication's going to be weaker. They're more exposed. They're going to get hacked. They're going to have a wire fraud incident. They're going to have all these things that just take them out. And now we're in this position where it's adopt a product that can have speed to market in a way that it can react to consumers quicker. It can tell you the information that you're missing quicker.
Yep.
We can have the draft communications available. People I always say that the first time that someone sent me an email that I could tell was drafted using chat, it's like, cheater.
I knew it.
Now you see it and you're like,
damn, man.
Like, you're
Yeah.
like the way you experience it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's just generally how the world's moving. But like the ability to invest in that and the ability to create those relationships, because now my people can spend the time on the people side of the business. And I think in a lot of ways, we as humans, because so much is being automated and AI is taking over so much of our life, we are craving that human interaction in ways that we haven't had. And I can't remember how long.
A long time, brother.
I mean, you and I haven't sat down
A long
for
time.
2.5 hours
ever.
Yeah. I mean,
dude, it's been like, I don't know. I enjoy it. And I think that COVID taught us a lot of different things, but there is something that we need as humans, and it is to be around other humans, even though it might not feel like it every time, and people might frustrate you, and you might need some privacy, some alone time, and all that stuff. But you do not fill up that cup without human interaction.
And I think, too many people don't recognize their need for it.
Right.
And look, not everyone needs it at the same level. I actually I would not be a good candidate for a work from home situation.
No, me neither. Like, I've tried it. It actually drives me mad.
Like, I like to go in and I like to see the people. I like talking to people. I can stop by and say, hey, how was your, you were telling me the other day about this. Was that? Like, you can invest in people in a different way.
But guys, you'll feel more accomplished at the end of the day when you go home, because you'll did have conversations with others today. I did check on somebody that I hadn't talked to in a while. I did do this. It's like, it's the action of doing and making that physical, emotional, social connection. And so that's why I'm not like, I get the people's gripe, especially over the last, 12, 15 months with the whole, no more working from home stuff. And a lot of these major corporations being like, yo, we need you more in the office. My dad has been working at Marriott for 25 years now. Long time.
Great company.
They've always had a mandate, and they're pretty, I would say they move about as quickly as the federal government does. They're not very agile, but they've been forced to, over the last 5 years, move a little bit quicker, and they've been able to flex on some stuff. But he's like, look, as much as I don't want to drive in from Edgewater to Bethesda or Chevy Chase every day, I think the new office is Chevy Chase, it's still like, I can't refute the policy, because there is no better way to build culture as a company. And at the end of the day, as much as we are human beings, we're working for and getting paid by this company. And this company says, look, we perform better and we get the best out of you guys when you guys are all together. And I get that. It's way easier for us to collaborate on stuff when we're sitting across from each other at a table. Then
I'm a big whiteboarder. Like, I've got
Oh yeah, I've seen the whiteboard.
The whiteboard in the offices.
That's a legendary whiteboard.
There's a lot of. I could argue that my best ideas came off that whiteboard. And like my new office, when we moved into the new space, I love it. I don't want to go to a conference room. I like being in my office because it's got my space, it's got the whiteboard, and now it's got the high top table that the team works at.
That's cool.
We can I'm walking around. It's interesting. You talk about like work from home. The one thing that's been really cool, there's been a few instances over the course of the last 5 years, 6 years, where we were able to retain talent because they could work remotely. So Amy on our team.
That is cool. Yeah.
Her husband got PCS to California back in 21. And I was like, we're going to try something new. We're going to ship all your stuff out to you. And it was cool because during COVID, she worked and gave us a late night.
And that is cool.
Hours to where she was answering stuff on the West Coast time. So we had this wider range of coverage, which was really neat.
That is nice.
She's awesome. And subsequently, she's actually moved he got PCS again from there, and now she lives in Tennessee.
That's right.
And then Ashley, she moved a year and a half ago, maybe. Now, Ash has been with me since the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
She's got a special place in my heart because she's been with us, and she had to move down to take care of her dad down in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And it was like, same thing. I was like, do you want to take your stuff with you, or you want me to ship it? Like, there wasn't really a conversation around whether she was going to continue to work with us or not.
I'm not even going to ask this.
But like the unique part, like in my office, when we have a daily huddle at 3:30 every day, and for like our individual teams, like the maroon team has one, gray has one, yellow's got one, gold's got one, and it's really where we get through all our roadblocks and make sure we're all on board with the different issues that were coming in the files and know what's going on. Like, it was a way to bring everyone together. So I've got like big TV like that one in my office, and I put a webcam just for the team huddles on top of the TV, so Amy can see the team.
That's good.
That's meeting in person, and we can see Amy.
Hell yeah.
And then now Xana's coming in from Prince Frederick, and so she's like, everyone's like all over, and like, Terry will be on the road, or I'm on the road, and so it's just this way to like bring everyone together. So like technology has made that sort of stuff more efficient, but at the same time, like, I agree, there's a lot of benefit of working together as a team, especially when you're training.
Oh yeah.
Remote training.
It's awful.
I don't know how you can do it.
No, like, there's definitely instances where, a lot of, I would say a lot of the administrative tasks and stuff like that can be handled remotely, but there is like, I don't know, there's a better bond, for better or for worse, depending on the experience.
Definitely when you're team environments, like
for sure,
like those ones, it's no different than like being on a sports team.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah, I can go out and shoot 150 free throws by myself. That's fine. I can't get better at running a motion offense by myself. Like,
need others.
You can go play wall ball and give it 100 from the right, 100 from the left, and go 100 cross, do like whatever, take these shots. But you can't set up a pick offense by with a one-man game.
No, it's one, and that you're describing one skill, maybe two, that you're working on. But with others,
collaboration,
you can do more.
It takes everyone so much further.
100%, man. What's next for Eagle Title?
I'm gonna say smart growth.
Yeah.
There's some markets that I'm looking at that really intrigue me.
Do you think you're mostly focused right now on horizontal growth, just spreading the radius a little bit, or it depends on what the situation is?
It's tough because it's got to be the right culture fit.
Yeah.
So like we've built we built Severna Park. We built on spec. We did the same effectively with Prince Frederick. We bought a company in Baltimore. So we've done it both ways.
Yeah.
They're both challenging, but wildly different challenges.
Sure.
Really interested in, I'm going to say, like the Bel Air, Falston market.
Yeah.
And like getting some of that Harford County area would be cool. Everyone wants to be in Montgomery County. The values are great there.
It's just a whole different animal, though, with the contract and everything that's there.
It's a different animal. So I've been, like, we're trying to find some stuff out there. But again, I think it's got to be the right place and the right time. I've had a lot of people want me to go to the shore. There's not enough units.
That's probably the most balanced market that we have right now. Whenever we do, and I'm just, whenever I talk shore stuff, I'm focused on Queen Anne's, Talbot, Kent County, Chestertown, that whole region, the Stevensville, Queenstown, all that stuff, and St. Michael's, Oxford, Easton, right. The big triangle. It's between mid threes and upper fours, depending on the month, in terms of months of inventory.
Yeah.
That's far and away. Like Southern Maryland, sneaky, like not a lot of inventory, and stuff moves really quick.
And you got a lot of PCSing down there.
100%.
So you got to know that game. And I got very fortunate with learning the PCS game early on. And those are different buyers and different sellers.
Oh, for sure.
You got when you're dealing with sellers in the PCS game, you got to be helping guide them through the non-resident withholding tax early on in the process, because they're not residents of the state.
No.
They live here, but they're not residents of the state for tax purposes. They're Florida, Texas, Nevada, and I would say to agents, like, when you take a listing, before you walk up the driveway, look at the license plates on the car. If you see a Florida or Texas tag, you better be having the out-of-state withholding tax conversation in the initial listing appointment. That's a huge value add right in that moment. People PCSing here, lots of power of attorneys, and they use a lot of VA loans. And so you need to know the requirements and what's going to work with what lender and what the verbiage needs to be on that power of attorney. There's times where we've got people who are active duty and, the spouse is making the move while they're stationed overseas. That brings a whole different animal to the ball game.
Poor spouse.
I respect our service members.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of their spouses almost are more commendable just because of what they sacrifice to do that and just how they support our service members.
Yeah.
It's
a hard life.
Show up in a big, big way.
Yeah.
Big way.
That's not easy, man. I mean, you imagine not being here for 6 months, 8 months at a time and Steph having to handle everything by herself. Like, dude, she'd kill you. Wow. I mean, different ball game, dude. Well, dude, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see what's next for Eagle Title. But you guys, I mean, should elaborate a little bit more that we're going to wrap this up. But you guys, as Eagle Title, that's just one wing of the business. You guys have a whole other side of the business. It's a law firm that handles a lot more than just that.
We've got Walsh and Simmons as well, and that's a full service law firm. And, with that, we're doing anything from, obviously we do real estate, like that's a big part of it.
Sure.
And we were known for that early on, but we've added so many different practice areas. Now we've got estate planning administration. So they're doing everything up front and then everything after, everything from, doing trust and estates work. And they do a really nice job with it because they don't over plan for people that don't have, too many people get put into a revocable trust that have no business being in a revocable trust, but
right.
Those trust shops just chew them up and spit them out and take their money, and it's a headache. But we represent about 8 or 9 local banks doing business financing documents for them. We've got a new ethics team, which is awesome. We've got an employment team. We've got a litigation team. So we've got just like all these different practice areas that really can support a lot of our clients in a big way. And it's been interesting. A lot of times you've got a really small title company that only exists to service a really big law firm.
Sure.
Or you've got a really big title company as a very small law firm that supports the title company.
You guys are pretty damn balanced.
They're pretty balanced. And they're different businesses, but it's created a ability for us to service all of these different clients and kind of grow and both stand on their own. One's not dependent on the other by any stretch of the imagination.
That is cool. It's got to be a fun feeling when you have a nice settlement and and I've been a part of a few of these where people have been like, oh wait, you guys do estates and wills? Oh, you guys do this too? And they're like, yeah, well, here's our card. Call us anything. That's pretty cool, man.
When I joined the company, it's either employee 4 or employee 5. I've seen it go, that was even before we had the title company.
Yeah.
And I've seen it go from where it was to where it is today. And it's just awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I think the thing I love most about it is just some of the amazing people that I've gotten to work with over the years and like people I've met. And, it's been cool to help a lot of consumers. You get involved in 30,000 transactions. You've seen some people, you've met some characters. You've had some fun off the way. Now it's challenging me in a different way to like really figure out how to be the steward of the business, how to shepherd us into the next generation in an industry that is a very archaic industry, but bring it forward. And then it's also, it's taken me to some really cool places in the world to learn from these other leaders. And that part's cool too.
That's pretty damn cool, man. I mean, I will give all the credit to Matt Nader for our connection.
Absolutely.
My boy, my dude, he set us up a long time ago. And I think his general aura is pretty palpable. The dude just
you could cut it with a knife.
You got it, bro.
You could bottle it up and sell it.
But you know what? I've always appreciated the way that he just attacks the day. It's very
he's an animal.
It's the way that, coaches growing up would always tell you how to do stuff. I never seen anything like it. And I always felt with him that I had everything under control because he was there. And just by nature of his stamp of approval, I always knew that you guys were going to be a great fit for me. And it's continued to not only like hold true, but get even stronger over time, watching how you guys have been able to build, and almost all of it. I mean, you have a great team behind you, but dude, I've seen the work that you personally put in, and it's just impressive. And it's always been something that I've admired. And I'm very grateful to Matt for this introduction. And I always love coming into your guys' offices and seeing you and Terry. It just makes me smile, man.
I always thank Matt for the introduction, and 13 years ago, whatever it's been, you have the worst stories through the years. You have the good transactions, the bad ones, the ones that have gone off the rails for whatever reason. I admire Matt. What he's been able to do in his career has been transformative. He's got First Home at the helm right now, and he's doing some really unique stuff with them, which I can see like that intentionality that he brings to each day. He's still getting up every morning, putting in the work, getting he's worked out more in the morning than I'll work out all month.
I mean, buddy, it is exhausting.
And with that many girls in the house, I guess that's why you have
well, you're gonna get out of that house. That's the problem.
But, he's just the best, and I love that whole team over there. And it is about working with local people and understand the market, understand what gets deals done, and at the same time, you can't take anything for granted. You have to keep showing up. You have to keep doing the small things, and you just can't say, "Oh, I got that relationship on lock."
Yep.
You gotta deliver each and every day. We are only as good as our last transaction, and too many people want to take that for granted.
Amen, dude. Amen. Well, thank you for joining me
Thanks for the time
today, dude.